Chapter 363. On the 8th day of the new year, Lu Qing happily changed his training location and came to Backwater Lake. Yanjike came back from Jiangnan province yesterday. In the early morning mist, not long after he sent the message, he saw the girl wearing a white martial arts suit with her hair tied up in a ponytail, jogging out of the villa district. Their eyes met, full of warmth. One after the other, they turned into a fork in the road and approached the familiar place. Lu Qing quickened his pace and soon stood shoulder to shoulder with Yanjike. He breathed in the fragrance that calmed his mind. "Qing, let me show you something." Yanjike raised her chin slightly when they arrived at the usual place. Her eyes lit up as she shook the bag in her hand. "No hurry." Lu Qing chuckled. Seeing that it was still dark and there was no one around, he pulled the girl over and held her in his arms. "You." Yanjike's eyes widened and her protest was stopped in her mouth. After a long time, she pushed Lu Qing away. She brushed her messy hair and said, "I'm talking about something serious." "Something serious? That's more important." Lu Qing chuckled. "Humph." Yanjike pouted and turned her head. She happily passed the bag in her hand to him. "Here, for you." The 9 words formula. Lu Qing had guessed. "Yes. My grandpa called Shushan study and asked someone to send it to Jiangnan." Yanjike had a "praise me" expression on her face. She didn't say she could get it so quickly because she wanted to give her boyfriend a surprise. "Coach Yan, you're so nice." Lu Qing was really happy, but it was more because he was touched than surprised. He opened the bag and flipped through it. He found not only the 9 words formula that had lost its essence and charm, but also the handprints and other body secrets. There were also the words and related notes written by several generations of Shushan study masters. Each of them had their own charm and characteristics. Of course, they were all wrong to give to Yanjike. For others, it would be very difficult to find the useful parts from the false. But for Lu Qing, it was a piece of cake for him to verify it with his Jin Dan. "How is it?" Yanjike pursed her lips and raised her head. "It's a serious matter." "But didn't I say that it was a more important matter?" "We can't reverse the order." Lu Qing deliberately raised his eyebrows. "You are becoming more and more improper," Yanjike said angrily, but her eyes were overflowing with unconcealable joy. After completing the daily routine, Lu Qing glanced at the girl who was seriously practicing the meteor force. He took out a stack of notes from the bag, studied them carefully, and tried to visualize them for trial and error. Lin. He clasped his hands together to form a seal, and in his mind, he outlined the 19 different confrontation characters written by the seniors of Shushan study. He didn't specially complete the visualization. If he did, it wouldn't take a day or two. He just wanted to grasp a little of the charm and see if it could resonate with the Jin Dan. As the confrontation formula was uttered, the nebula at his lower abdomen continued to move slowly without any abnormalities. By the time Lu Qing eliminated the thick notes of the confrontation formula and the fighting formula, it was close to 8:00. He stopped visualizing and left the backwater lake in another direction with Yanjike, who had finished her practice. They had a round of breakfast. "Qing, don't be too anxious. You don't have to rush to return these notes. Wait for my grandpa to urge you." Yanjike comforted him at the entrance of the villa area. She had noticed that Lu Qing was already experimenting and was afraid that he would be too impatient and go astray. "Don't worry. I have an affinity with the 9 words formula," Lu Qing joked. After returning home, he took a hot shower and continued his trial and error journey. He eliminated the meanings of the wholeness formula, formation formula, and decueing formula that the predecessors had reverse deduced. Although he didn't gain much, he wasn't disappointed. With the mistakes made by the seniors of Shushan study and the lessons learned, he could also reverse deduce along this path and seek the charm. However, that would take a few years or even longer. Taking out the last stack of notes, he composed himself and once again immersed himself in cultivation. Okay. 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 The ancient sounds came from his mouth and his hand seals gradually became familiar. When Lu Qing tried the OK formula that Wu Qiao, the former head of Shushan study, had reverse deduced, the bright nebula in his body suddenly spun faster and rippled. In the ripples, the ice crystal and the sun joined together to form over 100 blurry ancient words, clustered around a large OK formula that was as swift as the wind. Got it. Lu Qing was overjoyed. Suppressing his excitement, he tried again and again, imprinting the essence and charm of the OK formula in the Jindan in his mind. He memorized the 100 ancient words one by one and added them to his notebook. The OK formula trained the legs internally and was used externally to increase speed. It was a match made in heaven with the north wind footwork that he had just learned. Not bad, not bad. He had mastered 4 of the 9 words formula. He was almost halfway there. The next morning, by the backwater lake. How is it? Did you get any insights? Yan Zhike asked casually. Lu Qing cleared his throat, formed a hand seal, wriggled his abdomen, vibrated his vocal cords, and exhaled. Okay. Before he could finish his sentence, he had already leaped out. The friction at high speed tore apart the airflow, stirring up the sound of wind and thunder in silence. He mastered the OK formula just like that. I just gave him the information yesterday. And it was just a summary of errors, not a specific method of practice. Yan Zhike was stunned. Her pink lips opened little by little, almost forming an O shape. Coach Yan also enjoyed the same treatment as Coach Shi, only mastered the OK formula. I don't know the rest yet. It will take me a few years to master it, Lu Qing said modestly, chuckling. You and the 9 words formula are really fated. Yan Zhike came back to her senses at his words. She was half dazed and half amazed. She really wanted to bite Qing and see if he was still human. Noticing the girl's teeth-grinding expression, Lu Qing coughed and changed the subject. I'll see if I can imitate the charm of the attainment formula. That way, you can practice it and take it back to Shushan study. If it works, I'd like to exchange the attainment formula for my master's approval. I'll teach you the swordsman formula. It'll be very beneficial for your body. Yan Zhike listened to his long-winded speech. The surprise in her eyes faded and was replaced by a bright light. Okay. She answered with a faint smile. This time, she didn't want to bite Qing. She wanted to kiss him. In the next few days, Lu Qing bought ink, a brush, and good paper. He wrote the attainment formula over and over again, trying to imprint the feeling of being as swift as the wind on the paper. He failed again and again, wasting stacks and stacks of paper. Before the end of the winter break, he finally grasped the true meaning and method. He visualized and wrote at the same time. As he started to write, the attainment formula gradually formed. Suddenly, a wind blew in the room, blowing away the waste paper beside him. Lu Qing put away the brush and stared at the end of the paper. He saw an ancient attainment formula, as if formed by the wind. Sigh. My understanding is still lacking. I'm afraid it's only 1/10 of the real attainment formula. But it's enough for Ke to get started. He sighed and glanced at the calendar. There were only 2 days left before the leisurely end of the winter break. But before that, there was still something he had to do. The next afternoon, with the help of Xing Qingguo and Director Xing, he went to the prison 100 kilometers away and met Wang Su in the reception room. Wang Su was wearing a gray prison uniform. He was bald and had shallow scars on his cheeks. His expression was sentimental. "How are you? Are you okay?" Lu Qing asked first. "It's pretty good. Director Xing has already spoken to them. The few bosses in the prison take good care of me. No one bullies me." Wang Su answered very happily. He had seen how the prison bullies dealt with other people. At this point, Wang Su recalled the past and smiled bitterly. "I regret not listening to you. If I had left Lo and the rest earlier, I might have bought a house and gotten married by now. If you behave well, you might be released before I graduate. You'll still be young then. You can do whatever you want." Lu Qing comforted him. "Okay." Wang Su took a deep breath and nodded. The two didn't have much in common. Lu Qing talked about the neighborhood for a while and was about to leave. Before he left, he asked with concern, "You don't look well. You don't look so good. There are dark circles under your eyes. Are you sick?" "No, I just can't sleep well. I keep thinking about what happened that day and have nightmares." Wang Su's eyes were still filled with the fear of that day. "You can sleep well with sleeping pills. You can't sleep without them." Lu Qing pondered for a while, then turned to the guard beside him and asked, "Do you have ink, paper, and a pen? If not, ink and paper will do." The guard didn't refuse and said enthusiastically, "I'll get someone to look for it." "What are you going to write?" Wang Su asked, puzzled. "I'm going to draw a talisman for you." Lu Qing replied half-jokingly. "Ah." Wang Su was even more puzzled. After a while, another police officer came over with ink and a piece of white paper. Lu Qing unfolded the paper and dipped his finger in the ink. Then he closed his eyes and sketched in his mind the ancient character that suppressed negative emotions. Using his finger as a brush, he danced like a dragon and a phoenix. An ancient character for Qian appeared before Wang Su's eyes. "Hang it in your cell and look at it for 5 minutes before you sleep." Lu Qing wiped his finger with the rest of the paper. "Will it work?" Although Wang Su felt that the character was very reassuring, he couldn't believe that a Taoist could draw a talisman. "There's no harm in trying." Lu Qing replied with a smile. "That's true." Wang Su nodded. At night, Wang Su hung the Qian character on his bed and looked at it carefully for 10 minutes before he fell asleep. The next morning, when the first ray of light shone into the cell, he opened his eyes and woke up naturally. He felt refreshed. It really wasn't a dream. Wang Su sat up in shock and stared at the Qian character on his bed. He felt that it was mysterious and powerful. Chapter 364. On the 13th day of the first lunar month, Lu Qing carried his luggage and said goodbye to his parents. Once again, he embarked on his journey to study and entered Shushan's high-speed railway station. Just yesterday, Wu Qinggui's $700,000 endorsement fee had arrived. The specially designed martial arts shoes would be sent out in March for Lu Qing to try on and make the final adjustments. As soon as Lu Qing received the endorsement fee, he went to the bank and transferred $150,000 to his mother, Qi Fang, for her renovation expenses. She was so scared that she thought there was something wrong with the banking system. She almost called the police. When she heard the phone call, she realized what had happened. She happily scolded her son and didn't reject him anymore. Instead, she publicized Lu Cheng's great achievements in the community, making him a real other people's child and creating a nightmare for the younger generation in the community. Hey, what a coincidence! At the ticket gate, Yanjika dragged her suitcase and pretended to meet Lu Cheng by chance. She patted Lu Cheng's shoulder sweetly with her dimples. What a coincidence! You're going to Songqing too. Lu Qing showed his exaggerated acting skills. He took the girl's suitcase and hugged her waist. Bad acting. Yenjika looked up at the sky and made a comment. They no longer had to worry about the existence of their parents. The two of them were like wild horses out of control, feeling freedom and happiness. After checking the tickets, they entered the high-speed railway. Lu Qing put the suitcase on the seat and sat next to the girl. He asked, "How's your attainment formula and swordsman formula going?" He called his master and got a positive answer. He could exchange the attainment formula for the swordsman formula. Geyser also hinted that it was okay to teach his wife more things. After all, those guys came to him without his permission and put her through a tough test. "I'm getting a feel for it." Yenjika looked at Lu Qing and joked, "Are you looking for a sense of superiority? To show off that you've mastered it in one day?" She didn't tell her grandpa and grandma about the attainment formula yet. She planned to tell them before the national competition so as not to scare them. Some people really couldn't be measured by common sense. At the same time, she was also looking forward to one thing. The attainment formula was Chang's compensation to Shushan study, and her cousin could also learn it. What kind of changes would occur when the speed of meteor burst was combined with the attainment formula? "You've wronged me, Coach Yen. I'm just concerned about you. I'll show off in front of anyone but you." Lu Qing replied with a smile. Yenjika snorted and turned to look out of the window. "It's the nationals this semester. I'm so looking forward to it." "Yes, I'm also so nervous." "Me too, but I'm looking forward to tonight more." It's Valentine's Day, our first anniversary together. What kind of gift will you give me? This year, Songqing University officially opened on Monday, February 17th. However, in order to celebrate Valentine's Day and their anniversary together, the two of them lied about the military intelligence and left early. Of course, it couldn't be called a lie. Coming to school early to prepare for the nationals was a legitimate reason. "I don't have any gifts." Yenjika rolled her eyes at Lu Qing and suddenly burst into laughter. "Does my period count?" "Qing, I think you and my period are destined to be together. When we don't go home at night, we often run into each other. It can't be helped. You came on the 17th of last month. There are 31 days in January. It's just these few days. There's nothing wrong with it." Lu Qing spread his hands helplessly and thought about the future. "We'll miss the next time." "So what?" Yenjika puffed up her cheeks and leaned on Lu Qing. She gave him one of her earphones and invited him to listen to music and watch TV series together. They arrived at Songqing at around 7 p.m. However, instead of going to the campus, they went to the 5-star hotel that Lu Qing had booked. Outside the window, it was already late at night. The neon lights were shining, but the room was as warm as spring. When Yenjika wasn't paying attention, Lu Qing dialed the room number and pretended to be the front desk. "I still need to go through some procedures. I'll go downstairs." He picked up the phone and said a few words. Yenjika didn't suspect anything. She rummaged for her pajamas and said in a light tone, "Come back quickly." "Okay." Lu Qing opened the door and went out to buy flowers. After leaving the hotel, in order to save time, he didn't care about the price. He found a wandering flower seller on the street and bought a bunch of roses. Then, he wrote a message to the girl and sent an email. Yenjika took a shower, changed into light pajamas and slippers. She went back to the bed and picked up her phone. "Check the email." Lu Cheng's message said. "Email?" Yenjika was a little bit expectant. She opened the email app and saw the video from her boyfriend. After downloading, she changed her sitting position to make herself more comfortable. Then she chose to play the video. The camera shook for a while and finally fixed on Lu Cheng's familiar face. "Every Valentine's Day is the anniversary of our relationship. I feel like you're missing a holiday. Facing the camera, Lu Qing smiled shyly. It's good that you know. Yenjika replied silently. Lu Qing cleared his throat, looked straight ahead, and said, on this Valentine's Day, the anniversary of our relationship, I want to tell you a story about a boy chasing a girl. A boy secretly fell in love with a beautiful and kind girl when he was in high school. He saw her as his goddess. But at that time, he felt a little inferior and didn't dare to chase after her. He didn't dare to try. He felt that he didn't deserve her and that he didn't have a chance. However, fate allowed them to enter the same university. The call of fate made the boy's heart restless. Yenjika listened quietly with a smile on her face. She probably knew what story Lu Qing wanted to tell. How would he tell the story? She had some expectations. That day, he saw the girl in a red and white Han costume standing in front of the martial arts arena. The boy was amazed again. Encouraged by fate, he finally plucked up the courage to walk over and strike up a conversation with her. In order to make himself less nervous, he ran a big circle and was so tired that he was out of breath. It was natural that he blushed and stuttered. In the video, Lu Cheng's face was slightly red as he recalled. There was such a thing. Yenjika opened her mouth slightly, surprised and happy. Recalling the scene and hearing the story behind it, she couldn't help but curse in her heart. Idiot Qing, he even ran a big circle. Stupid. At this moment, a beautiful melody sounded in the video and the background changed. A picture appeared and occupied the screen. It was the beautiful girl in Han costume at the entrance of the martial arts arena. Ah! Yenjika covered her mouth with her hand. Why does Qing have a picture of me at that time? Didn't he say that he was too nervous and forgot to take a picture? The girl was very friendly. Her personality was better than what the boy imagined. They talked very well. He was thick-skinned and asked for her QQ number. From then on, he started an unbelievable dream life. He restrained himself and only talked with the girl for a while each time so that she wouldn't feel annoyed and think that he was pestering her. As time went by, they became more familiar with each other and talked more and more. He was surprised to find that the girl was very cute in private, the background music was melodious. Emojis popped up one after another. Some were staring blankly, some were sitting obediently, and some were holding their chins with their hands. Yenjika almost burst out laughing. This video was made very seriously. She thought happily. On the girl's birthday, the boy didn't dare to do too much. He was afraid that he would scare off the little fairy if he was too enthusiastic and proactive. So he went to Yenling to participate in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament with this kind of mentality. In this challenge tournament, he found more common interests with the girl and let her participate in his life. It was also in this challenge tournament that he heard the first cheer in his martial arts career. It was from the girl. The voice telling the story stopped, and a soft female voice that Yenjika was very familiar with suddenly rang out in the video. Lu Qing. Lu Qing. Go Lu Qing. This. Yenjika covered her mouth again and turned her head to look to the side in surprise. Qing still had the voice message from that time. The cheer from the girl he secretly loved, the first cheer in the challenge tournament, filled the boy with motivation and courage. He defeated strong opponents one after another and made it to the group stage. And the girl went one step further and sang a cheer for him after his repeated pleas. In the background music, the clear voice just now started humming a melody that made people's blood boil. Keep running, with the pride of a newborn. How can you see the brilliance of life if you don't persevere to the end instead of dragging out your last breath? Why not burn to your heart's content? He kept them all. Yenjika let out a sigh, her eyes shining brightly. For the boy, these are all memories that are worth remembering for a lifetime. He kept the voice message, the chat history, and the beautiful moments they spent together. He hid them in different places. He wanted to sit in the rocking chair and slowly recall them for the girl when his hair turned white. After that, many photos and screenshots of their conversations appeared on the screen. Lu Cheng's voice guided Yenjika back to the past, reliving the beautiful feelings of the past year. On New Year's Eve, the two of them held their phones, quietly listening to each other's breathing and welcoming the new year. In the early hours of his birthday, the girl called and sang a song of blessing. On Valentine's Day, under the moonlight, the sentence, "Let me be happy for 5 minutes," was exchanged for a screen full of fireworks, the details before the first date, the feelings of wanting to hold hands on the first date, and the walk in the clouds when they were lost and didn't know where to go when they held hands for the first time, the efforts made for the first kiss, the exciting and beautiful contact of lips and tongues by the lake, the misunderstanding and conflict caused by too much eagerness and desire, the feeling of being an old married couple when they woke up in the morning, the solemnity and holiness when they gave each other rings, and the teasing when he called her wife. The past reappeared. Yenjika's eyes reddened and she fell into a daydream. It seemed that she once again experienced the scene of Lu Qing taking off her clothes under the bright sun on the bed. Once again, she experienced the beautiful moment when he touched her. There were too many of these, and the video didn't show them at all. Idiot, how can you only remember the things I did for you and forget the things you did for me? It's Valentine's Day again. I want to give this story to you. I hope that the boy and the girl have new stories every year, and I can tell you like this every year. Lu Cheng's low voice echoed in Yenjika's ears and into her heart. Yenjika saved the video. She wanted to learn from Lu Cheng and record the past. At this time, she pursed her lips, hiding her smile and tears, and sent an audio file she prepared earlier to Lu Cheng. Outside the door, Lu Cheng held the flowers and silently counted the time. He planned to enter the video at the end and give the flowers to Yenjika when she was most touched. Just then, his phone rang and he saw the voice message from the girl. Lu Cheng put the phone to his ear, puzzled and expectant. Cheng, I've been thinking about what to give you for Valentine's Day. After thinking for a long time, I finally decided to give you an answer. Yenjika's soft and clear female voice sounded, soft and low. Do you still remember this day last year? You confessed to me that you liked Yenjika, especially Yenjika. I was very happy but also very scared. I was very surprised and very scared. I hoped that you could wait for me to like you as much as you like me, wait for me to slowly accept the changes and accept the existence of one more person in my life. I remember many things about you, but I don't remember many of the words I said. I don't know if I have answered you before. Anyway, I want to tell you officially now. Cheng, I like you, especially you. Yenjika's voice was soft and her emotions were exposed. Her unreserved expression hit Lu Cheng's heart. Cheng, I like you, especially you. He smiled, swiped the room card, and pushed the door open with the flowers. After a good night, Lu Cheng, who had spent a lot of effort to coax Yenjika again, returned to the new campus of Songqing University and saw Lin Ke, Li Mao, Kai Zhongming and the others. During the first special training session of the semester, they gathered in a circle, covered their hands, and shouted in unison, "National competition." Chapter 365. National competition. After everyone in the martial arts club shouted, Shu Rui signaled the cameraman to stop recording. She stood in front of the team, bowed slightly, and said with a sentimental smile, "Thank you for your care and cooperation in the past few months. There are more than 40 days left, so I have to say goodbye. Our team wishes you all the best in the national competition." Shu Rui was an outstanding beauty. She was reliable, neither cold nor arrogant. Since the beginning of September, except for the holidays, she had come here every few days to film their daily lives. She was familiar with the members of the martial arts club and had made friends with them. Therefore, when they heard her words, they all expressed their reluctance to see her go and sighed with emotion. In such an atmosphere, the first special training of this semester began. Everyone held their breath and worked hard for the national competition. At the end of the training, Lu Qing saw Shu Rui interviewing his teammates one by one. He smiled at Yan Jike beside him and said, "I'm suddenly looking forward to the program that reporter Shu is going to do." Looking at his smile, Yan Jike suddenly remembered last night. She couldn't help but turn her head, purse her lips, and snort in a low voice. "I finally mustered up the courage to take the initiative to satisfy your desire. How dare you, how dare you?" She was too embarrassed to think about it anymore. "What's wrong?" Lu Qing blurted out. Then he realized and wanted to slap himself. Of all things, he had touched a sore spot. I just feel that I'm not pure anymore." Yenjika wasn't angry, but she still felt ashamed and angry. After a while, she changed her attitude and decided not to talk about it anymore. She looked down at her feet and answered with a little sadness. When she went back to the dormitory this morning to put away her things, Dirty Tong's eyes made her unable to raise her head. She could only talk about it. "I think that girls who have been married or have had a boyfriend for more than a year can only be pure, relatively speaking." Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh. "Yes, we have been dating for more than a year. A year and a day." Yenjika glared at him. Seeing Shu Rui approaching, she quickly changed the topic. "Cheng, didn't you say that you were too excited to take a picture when you hit on me last time? Why was it in the video last night? When I was making the video, I felt that it was a pity that there wasn't a photo here. But I couldn't tell you in advance so that you could wear the Han costume and find a chance to take a photo. I thought about it and thought that my little fairy was so beautiful, so there must be someone who couldn't resist taking photos. So I asked one by one and finally got a photo from President Chen Zhonghua." Yenjika was suddenly enlightened. "Oh, right. Senior brother Chen asked me to take a picture of it. He said it was a record for the martial arts club's activities." Her eyebrows gradually relaxed and a smile was hidden within. Once again, she felt Lu Chang's intentions. After last night, for some reason, she felt that she and Cheng were closer than before. They had already touched so much of each other's private parts, and the privacy between them seemed to have decreased by a lot. At this time, Shu Rui moved over and began to interview Yenjika, focusing on her preparations for the national competition during the holidays. Lu Qing took 2 steps back and stood beside little Ming, not wanting to interfere. "Cheng, I feel like I'm close to 9th pin now," Kai Zongming said in high spirits, mimicking the action of Hercules. Lu Qing looked him up and down and nodded with a smile. "Not bad. What's with the look and tone in your eyes?" Kai Zongming squinted at him. "Caring look and tone in my eyes." Lu Qing chuckled. He wouldn't say that it was the look and tone of a professional 6th pin fighter caring for a professional 9th pin fighter. Caring for a retard. Kai Zongming retorted unhappily. "That's what you said." "I didn't say that." Lu Qing replied. Talker actually made a slip of the tongue. Kai Zongming found that he was tricked. After a long time, he squeezed out a word, "Get lost." Seeing that Lu Qing was having a hard time holding back his laughter, he decided to change the topic. "You came back in a hurry this morning. Did you do something bad last night?" Chang and old Chiu were deeply affected. "Double the damage on Valentine's Day. Am I not allowed to take the train at night?" Lu Qing asked, amused. "Yes, of course. Let me remind you as a senior. No matter whether there is a chance or not, you should be prepared first. Otherwise, you will be driven to the streets to find pharmacies, supermarkets and vending machines." Kai Zongming showed an expression that he couldn't bear to look back on the past. Lu Qing twitched his mouth and said, "Comrade Casanova, I found that your funny experience could be written into a book. Complete collection of single dog abuse. Kai Zhongming understood him. When they were talking about the crosstalk, Shu Rui finished asking Yan Jike and walked to Lin, Quebec. She laughed and said, "I'm here to interview you again." Yes. Lin K still had the same expressionless look. Shu Rui straightened her body and smiled sweetly. "That's right. Nice to meet you." Time flew by in such dull and repetitive days. In the blink of an eye, it was April 2nd, and the final round of the National University Martial Arts competitions would officially start on April 5th. At the school bus station of the new campus of Songqing University, Lu Qing was the first to arrive at the bus station with Yan Jike in one hand and Yan Jike's suitcase in the other. After a while, Lin K arrived, wearing a black shirt and a pair of loose dark jeans, with a light yellow suitcase in his left hand. "Ah." Lu Qing opened his mouth wide and asked his girlfriend in surprise, your brother uses such a cute suitcase. You can't judge a book by its cover. Does my brother-in-law have a girl's heart?" Yan Jike covered her mouth and snickered. "My brother is very casual in this aspect. He uses whatever my aunt buys for him. He is never picky. This suitcase used to be my aunt's, okay." Lu Qing regretted his misunderstanding. He saw Kai Zhongming coming in with a handsome posture and Li Mao following behind him with a big bag taller than his head. Sun Jian, wearing sunglasses and carrying two people's luggage, appeared with Lin Hua in a plain white dress. On the other side, He Zi took off her round glasses and cut off her long hair. She had a short and thin hairstyle, which made her look cold and elegant. Yan Shaoling stood beside her and reminded her repeatedly, "Don't worry. Hey, I'm counting on you this time. You must send me the battle report from the front line as soon as possible." The list of people going to the capital consisted of 3 main forces, 6 substitutes, and 2 students, Li Xiaowen and Jiang Fuxing, who were in charge of chores. The others, including Yan Shaoling and Mu Jinyan, had to stay in school. At the bus station of Shanbei University, Su Wanyan and Fang Zhirong were chatting happily. He felt that as long as Fang Zhirong didn't lose his temper and wasn't provoked, he was easy to get along with, except that he liked to play pranks. After waiting for a long time, all the substitutes arrived and surrounded them. "Okay, get on the bus and go to the airport." Su Wanyan waved his hand. Mao Qingjun, the main force substitute, looked around and asked in confusion, "Are we missing one? The most important one is missing." Su Wanyan laughed and pointed to the bus. "Brother Peng has been here for a long time." Everyone looked over and saw Peng Liyun sitting by the window. He was leaning back and his eyes were empty. No one knew what he was thinking. "Let's go." Su Wanyan boarded the bus. Huahai. Xing Jingjing put down her luggage and boarded the bus. She saw Piao Yuan, who was tall and bald and had a fierce look, holding his mobile phone and taking selfies. Zhang Dongliang, who looked like an old farmer, was talking and laughing with several other substitutes. She looked to the left and saw An Chaoyang, who had short hair and was wearing professional headphones. He was listening to music quietly with his eyes closed. Xing Jingjing walked to the last row and chose to sit by the window. She was quite far away from everyone in front of her. Huaqing, Guangnan. Li Xiaoyuan was tall and slender, handsome and elegant. Just by standing there, he attracted a lot of attention. "That girl is not bad," he said with a smile. "Not bad." Shi Meng, who had a buzz cut, doubted his eyes again. "Her skin is so dark, and she is so thin. I can't see anything good about her except that she is tall. Anyway, I think she is not bad." Li Xiaoyuan, who was disliked again and again, spread out his hands and said. Shi Meng decided not to say anything more. It was a good thing that Li Xiaoyuan had a special taste. Otherwise, he would have taken all the good resources. Brother Zhen hasn't arrived yet. It's almost time. Shi Meng changed the topic. Li Xiaoyuan looked in the direction of the martial arts stadium and said, Brother Zhen has been working hard in the past 6 months. Well, he was provoked. Many people said that he had a bad attitude and had used up his potential. He should thank God for being able to reach the high pin level in this life. Shi Meng said with emotion, and Lu Qing came out of nowhere and caught up with him so quickly. Brother Zhen doesn't want to lose face in his senior year. While they were talking, they suddenly felt the ground tremble slightly. They turned around and saw Zhen Huanqing carrying a luggage bag and walking in the distance with heavy steps. His skin was bronze-colored, and his facial features were well-defined. He wasn't handsome, but he was extremely manly. Every step he took was like a moving tank. However, the closer he got, the weaker the tremors under everyone's feet became. It was the exact opposite of a normal situation. Let's go, Zhen Huanqing said in a low voice. Hedong University. Walking fat meat, Yu Zhi glanced at Wu Yong, Han Peipei, and the others. He squeezed through the door first, turned around, and shouted, Our goal this year is to reach the top 8. Top 8. Everyone in the martial arts club echoed in unison. Mingdao University. Because it was close to the capital, the three He brothers led a group of substitutes who were just going for a leisurely trip to the train station. Do you want to shout a slogan or something? He Fong looked around and asked. He Santai was playing Glory and said without raising his head, Don't disturb me. Capital College, Martial Arts Club. Kong Chan, where's the club president? Shen Yu asked the cute girl with a round face. Senior sister said she was going to the city martial arts stadium to step on the ground. Jiang Kongchan answered innocently. Shen Yu suddenly became nervous. You didn't send her there. I sent her to the subway station. Anyway, after taking the 4th line, she can reach the city martial arts stadium from any exit. She won't get lost, right? At such a distance, she can just ask someone. Jiang Kongchan explained. I hope so. Shen Yu was still worried. In the subway station, on the waiting platform of the 4th line, Kaiyang Sect, City Martial Arts Stadium. Renli, with long straight hair, squinted her big eyes and looked at the name on the station sign. Kaiyang Sect. On the medium-sized passenger plane, Lu Qing asked Yan Zhike to sit next to the window. He held the girl's hand and looked into her eyes. He read the same excitement and expectation as he, Li Mao, Kai Zhongming, and the others. Yes, after a year and a half, he was finally going to participate in the national competition. The cabin door closed and the plane taxied. After a run-up, it soared into the sky with a whoosh. Chapter 366. April 3rd, 8:00 in the evening. Lying in bed, Yan Shaoling turned on the computer and posted on the forum while buffering the data. Set the table, set the table. Everyone, don't miss it. I might be on camera tonight. Guess who's me? There's a difference between a real person and a photo. The program produced by Xu Rui and the others would be broadcasted on Songqing TV tonight. Although Yan Shaoling didn't join in the fun when watching the drawing of lots, it was inevitable that she would be filmed since she often participated in martial arts activities. As for whether it would be edited into the official version in the end, she wasn't sure. Tisk isn't the shortest one. Unparalleled Dragon King wouldn't let go of any opportunity to criticize Yan Shaoling. Yan Shaoling replied with a wronged expression, No QAQ, there are people shorter than me in the martial arts club. My new friend Qing Qing is shorter than me by 1 centimeter, and Xiao Hei is shorter than me by 2 centimeters, no, 3 centimeters. You can't see the difference with the naked eye, right? Road to the Arena gave a critical hit. Criticizing eternal nightfall Yan Shaoling had become a regular activity in the Lu Qing fan forum. Even the Longhu Club forum next door often had people joining in. 2 centimeters. What a big difference. They all say that I look like a sister when I stand with them, as long as they don't talk QAQ. Yan Shaoling fiercely retorted, I don't want to talk to you anymore. The program is starting. Move a small stool and sit down, quietly watch the show, chin resting. Wonton Seller also wandered over from next door. Little Wonton, what do you think about the evening self-study? Brahman was shocked. Wonton Seller sent a sticky rice dumpling emoji, I caught a cold and asked for leave. Wait, where are the exercises we agreed on? I'm doing it while watching. Brahman said confidently. At this time, the scenery of Songqing University's new campus appeared on Yan Shaoling's computer screen. Lakes, mountains, colorful buildings, just like a garden. It's been many years since the Songqing University Martial Arts Club last entered the national competition. Now, they finally have the best opportunity. The appearance of 2 geniuses has lit up the light of hope. From this semester onwards, under the leadership of Lu Qing and Lin Ke, they will launch a strong attack on the national competition. We choose to follow them all the way and faithfully record. And when I was recording this video, I didn't know what the final result of Songqing University Martial Arts Club would be. With Xu Rui's documentary-like voice, the long lens changed from a distance to a shady road to the Songqing University Martial Arts Gym, filming the students entering one by one. Tap, tap, tap. Amidst the sound of the typewriter, the words, Early September, XXXX, appeared on the screen. The color of the interior of the martial arts arena was soft. Several special training members who had arrived early were already warming up. The camera turned and aimed at the entrance. Coincidentally, a very familiar figure entered. Hi, Lu Qing. You're early. Xu Rui greeted him. Lu Qing didn't feel restrained. He faced the camera calmly and joked, It's late. Reporter Xu, you're all here. Then, he answered the goal of this martial arts competition by saying, a soldier who doesn't want to be a general is not a good driver. Yan Zhike also appeared on camera without makeup and accepted the sudden shooting. In the end, the audience was amused by Lin Ke's cold humor, which boosted Xu Rui's voice. The camera recorded everything as it was. It showed the surprised expressions of the members of the special training group after they obtained the internal training method. It also showed everyone's daily hard work and joking, which made the audience calm down. It was as if they were also in that kind of environment, following the members of the Songqing University Martial Arts Club to the final circle of the National University Martial Arts Competition step by step. Because it was real, it was emotional. This was the charm of a documentary. Yan Shaoling, who was chatting in the BBS, unconsciously put down her phone and focused on the computer. After seeing the special training, Lin Ke took the initiative to challenge Lu Qing, but regretted that there was no live recording. She saw the reactions of Lu Qing and the others when the first lot was drawn. She saw the cat reporter, He Zi, who was hiding in the corner and sending the frontline battle report. Tut tut, she even cut the scene where Lu Qing and the senior sister looked at each other. Was she bribed or threatened? Yan Shaoling laughed inexplicably. Then she saw the scene before the first match of the martial arts club, when the audience shouted, Here we come, in unison. She saw the scene inside the locker room, which was very mysterious to her, clearly presented in front of her eyes. She saw Lu Qing carefully applying ointment to heal the swelling and bruises. She saw Lin Ke drying his wet short hair and coming out of the bathroom. She saw Yan Zhike, who everyone thought was more beautiful than a star, waiting at the canteen window like thousands of other people in the university, leaving with a plate of stir-fry. She saw Lu Qing, as one of the candidates for the Heavenly Son of China, munching on a steamed bun and drinking soy milk, as ordinary as everyone around him. In the bright classroom, focused on learning, and unchanged special training, Li Mao, Sun Jian, Kai Zhongming, and the others respectively appeared on camera, showing the real life and the eagerness of the members of the martial arts club for the national competition. They smoothly advanced in the group stage and easily defeated their opponents in the quarterfinals. During this process, many unknown details were cleverly connected in a clever way, making the audience see Lu Qing, Lin Ke, and the others from a new perspective. For example, after the supernatural ability of misfortune rebound, everyone was subconsciously afraid of Lu Qing and wanted to avoid him. The first 4 matches were confirmed. The result of the first match against Shanbei made Li Mao and the others exclaim, while the expectation, excitement, and nervousness in Lu Qing and Lin Ke's eyes were also faintly pointed out. The first highlight of the program appeared in the away match against Shanbei. The cameras shared with the audience the fact that Lu Qing got up at 5:30 every day to practice in real time, perfectly depicting the unspeakable tension between him and Peng Liyun on the playground and the accidental encounter between him and Peng Liyun. Interspersed with the scenes of intense matches were the audience's depressed and painful expressions, Gizershir's encouraging speech the next day, Lu Qing and the others' increasingly serious training, and Songqing University students spontaneously gathered on the weekend to cheer for the martial arts club with the slogan, "Keep up the good work." After crushing the 2 martial arts clubs, Sanjiang and Haiyuan, smoothly appeared, the program showed the whole process of the members of the martial arts club celebrating at the food stall, making the audience feel that this group of young people was very down to earth. A new year, a new beginning. Their sweat and collisions during training were clearly outlined in the camera. Gradually, the camera moved to the front of the bus heading to the airport. The scene of Lu Qing and the others boarding the bus one by one was filmed. In the end, everything was fixed on the scene of the members of the martial arts club standing in a circle, holding hands and shouting in unison, "National competition." In the crisp sound, the background slowly blurred and a few big black words appeared, April 5th, National University Martial Arts Competition Final Circle. Phew. Yan Shaoling exhaled and felt very satisfied. She planned to collect resources later and keep this program. Well, just like my Lu Qing, I am also a qualified squirrel fan. In the fan forum, "All the good names are eaten by dogs," was the first to appear and exclaimed, "Lu Qing is usually very humorous." Raise your hand. Does anyone feel that the interaction between Lin Ke and that reporter Shu is cute? No, I feel that Lin Ke is cute no matter who he interacts with. Shui Lan, whose signature was Forever 18, retorted. That makes sense. Also, I always feel that Lu Qing and that sister Yan are having an affair. "All the good names are eaten by dogs" had a keen eye. You didn't come to the forum during that time. Okamoto's fan sent an emoji of spreading hands and curling mouth. I'm a fan of Sister Yan. She's so pretty, so pretty. She's beautiful no matter what. Flying Steed in the Sky, a newcomer, said infatuatedly. You guys only pay attention to whether the gossip is cute or not. Shouldn't the focus be on Lu Qing, Ping Liyun, Ren Li, and Chao Yang, and Jin Huanqing who are about to fight, punch to punch, blood to boil, and see who is the real heavenly son of the age? Fight, punch to punch, blood to boil. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. I need to stop my nosebleed. Bull Demon King said in a fancy way. Little dragon, let me discuss seriously. No, let me wipe off my saliva first. The real Lu Qing and Lin Ke are so charming. Wonton Seller said. What realm do you think Peng Liyun and the rest are at now? Damn, little Wonton, you are actually discussing such a serious topic. Whether or not Peng Liyun will win this year's competition depends on whether he has reached the inhuman stage. The chances are 50-50. Renli is probably at the top of the 6th pin. Lu Qing always slaps me in the face, so I don't dare to guess. But he's definitely at the top of the 6th pin. and Chaoyang and Jinhuanqing are said to be at the 6th pin level. As for whether they are at the 6th pin level, it's hard to say. Sounds like our idol is very powerful. Brahmin covered her mouth and laughed. Wait, have you seen little Changye? No, Lingling is too short, so she's covered. Nye Chi laughed. Due to the high popularity of the national competition, the traffic on Lu Cheng's fan forum had skyrocketed. Many new IDs had appeared. Some were criticizing, while others were praising. While the fans were discussing the program, Lu Cheng and Yenjika also retracted their gazes from the computer screen. Reporter Shu is very nice. She didn't broadcast anything that shouldn't be broadcast. Yenjika said with bright eyes. Of course, I specifically went to ask her. Lu Cheng chuckled. He also asked Shu Rui to send him the clips of him and Ku, so that they could be useful in the future. But for now, he would not tell Ku this secret for the time being. You actually contacted reporter Shu in private? Yenjika turned her head and looked at him with shining eyes. This is not the main point. Lu Qing blinked and said, just a phone call. Seeing his reaction, Yenjika burst into laughter. I was just scaring you. She rolled her eyes and said thoughtfully, I think you didn't just ask reporter Shu not to broadcast anything that shouldn't be broadcast. Humph, with your habit of collecting and keeping things, tell me. Did you ask for those clips? Classmate, isn't it good to keep some surprises for yourself? Lu Qing was speechless at first, but then he replied with amusement. Did Ku know him so well? Because I want to watch it now. Yenjika said with shining eyes. The two of them gathered together again and watched another version of the show. The reason why Songqing University Martial Arts Club arrived a few days earlier was to adapt to the dry weather and the large temperature difference between day and night in the capital, so as to avoid any fluctuations during the competition. After 2 days of adjustment, at 7:40 p.m. on April 5th, Group C of Shanbei University Martial Arts Club, the defending champion, opened the curtain of this year's martial arts competition. In the city stadium, among the cheers, Lu Qing saw that Peng Liyun was the last to fight. He easily defeated the exhausted leading general of Xinghai School and won the first round of the group competition. I still can't tell how good he is. Lu Qing looked at Yenjika and whispered to himself when the other match of Group C started. All the matches of the national competition were held at night, and a group competition would be held every day. In other words, each team would have a 4-day rest after one match. There were 2 days of adjustment before the quarterfinals, as well as before the semi-finals and finals. Since the defending champion was the first to fight, the order of the group rotation was CDAB. Therefore, Songqing University Martial Arts Club would challenge Hudong University Martial Arts Club in the second round on April 6. Lu Qing and the others dared not to be careless. Once they qualified, they would be the first and second team in the group. If they made any mistakes and were forced to fight against Shanbei or the capital in the quarterfinals, even if they could win, they would suffer great losses. They would not be able to face their opponents after that. Moreover, none of the teams that could make it to the national competition were easy to deal with. Especially Huahai, and Chaoyang was definitely at professional 6th pin, and Piao Yuan was close to professional 7th pin. Besides, Huahai's foundation was much deeper than Lu Cheng's martial arts club. Chapter 367. The defending champion took down Xinghai without any bloodshed. Finished in 10 moves. Peng Liyun was just warming up. Shanbei and Peng Liyun. Is there any doubt about who will be the champion this year? The real gods favored one. On the night of the opening match, the martial arts section of the major portals and Weibo forums were already buzzing with all kinds of headlines. Lu Qing glanced at them and put down his phone. He closed his eyes and began to feel sleepy. Just then, he heard a special reminder and knew it was a new message from Yenjika. I was so busy saying goodnight that I forgot to talk about something serious. Yenjike sent a blushing emoji. Honey, come on. The corners of Lu Cheng's mouth curled up. He picked up his phone, pressed the button and said, Honey, let's do it together. They didn't stick to each other anymore and went to sleep. Lu Cheng got up on time at dawn and went to the nearby park to practice. He returned to the hotel at 8:00 sharp and enjoyed a nice breakfast with Yenjike. Then he followed the rest to the martial arts club for relaxation training. After lunch, he slept and rested. Then he went to Yenjike's room to review the competition videos of the Hudong University Martial Arts Club in the past 6 months. At 5:20, they had a simple dinner. Then they boarded the bus with Lin Kei and others and arrived at the martial arts club in the capital before the peak of the traffic jam. When they were about to get off the bus, Lu Cheng opened the app and posted on Weibo, the first national competition is about to begin. After sending the message, he didn't look at the reposts and comments. Instead, he put his phone in his pocket and shouted to himself in his heart, victory. There were 8 dressing rooms in the martial arts club in the capital, all of which were quite luxurious. There were benches, sofas, massage chairs and even a TV. It was not yet 6:30. Geezer sure signaled that they didn't need to be so nervous and just do what they were supposed to do. Lu Cheng and Yenjike chatted until 7:30. When the first match of the night was about to begin, Lu Cheng chose to close his eyes and rest. The match between Hua Hai and Ming Dao could reveal a lot of things about them and help him understand his opponent better. However, there was no need to rush to watch it tonight. There were still 4 days to study it. Before the match against Hudong, it was a good habit to be focused, serious, and not be distracted. Yenjike's period came on time last night. Although it didn't hurt much today and she could force herself to fight, her condition was still affected. She felt that she was not as good as Li Mao and the others. After rational consideration, she chose to give up and put the interests of the martial arts club first. Yup, I'll be full of energy for the rest of the competition. She opened her eyes and clasped her white and slender fingers with Lu Cheng's. Images of the 3 leading members of the martial arts club of Hudong University appeared in her mind. Yu Ji, a senior student, was born with a unique body shape. He was the direct beneficiary of Peng Liyun and Ren Li's entry into the martial arts circle of the university. Originally, he was thought to be limited by his talent and it would be difficult for him to reach the Big Dan level. However, after being beaten by Peng Liyun and Ren Li, he seemed to be strongly stimulated and opened up the conception and governing vessels. Finally, he took the crucial step and succeeded in force concentration after last year's national competition. As soon as he was promoted, he turned the burden of his talent into an advantage, directly reaching the standard of a top 8th pin. After that, he experienced a period of rapid improvement, taking another step forward. Now that 11 months had passed, his strength must be even more terrifying. The bookmakers gave out odds for this, believing that Yu Ji was very likely to have the combat strength of a strong 7th pin or even a top professional 7th pin. This was the reason why Hudong University could appear as the first place in the division, but it was not the reason why they were considered to be the best in the second category. The latter was because of the breakthrough of another player, Soul Voice Han Pei. Han Pei, a female junior, had the supernatural ability of sound wave and could skillfully create ultrasonic and infrasound waves. When she was a professional 9th pin, she was not very strong in this aspect. However, after nearly 2 years of suffering and training before this division competition, she took the first step to reach the Big Dan level. In the past few months, although her improvement was not as fast as Yu Ji's, her supernatural ability was even more terrifying. Her comprehensive combat strength was considered to be close to or even a professional 7th pin. The strength of the 2 leading members made the Hudong University Martial Arts Club ranked 7th in the championship odds list, behind Shanbei, Capital, Huahai, Guangnan, Songqing University, and Mingdao. This was why Group D was called the Super Death Group. In such a group, even if they could fight their way out and enter the top 8, they would most likely be covered with cuts and bruises. The third leading member of the Hudong University Martial Arts Club was Wu Yong, a sophomore at the top professional 9th pin. He was considered to have a great chance to enter the Dan stage. In addition, the substitutes of Hudong University were not bad either. There were 2 professional 9th pin fighters and 4 amateur 1st pin fighters. In another locker room, Yu Ji, who was as fat as a sumo wrestler, did not turn on the TV. Instead, he turned his head to listen to the sounds outside and laughed. The 3 brothers from Mingdao will definitely apply for a special competition system. Their competition will be faster than normal. It may be 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. Soon it will be our turn. Speaking of this, Yuji looked at Han Peipei, who had dark eyelids and bright eyes. He then looked around at Wu Yong and the others. Gradually, his expression became solemn. Lu Qing is very strong, very strong. Lin Ke is not weaker than me and Peipei. We can't deny these 2 points, and we can't pretend that we don't see them. Yes, Songqing University is indeed stronger than us. In this competition, they are second only to Shanbei and Capital, and together with Guangnan and Huahai, they are a strong team. But this doesn't mean that we will definitely lose. There is a gap between us, but it is not so big that we can't make up for it. Seeing that his teammates had become solemn, Yuji raised his slightly sharp voice and said, "And we have a big advantage. Our goal is only to enter the top 8. When we set out, I told everyone that our goal is to enter the top 8, but only the top 8. In other words, we don't care how we fight in the group stage. Even if we are seriously injured, lose our leading players, and lose the top 8, we don't care. Songqing University is different. They want to enter the top 4. They want to fight for the championship. They need to preserve their strength as much as possible for the later knockouts. If they really want to go all out, they will most likely be afraid. Those who are barefoot are not afraid of those who are wearing shoes. This is our advantage." His words made Wu Yong and the others excited. They seemed to see the hope of overturning the popular team, the hope of defeating the strong with courage and perseverance. Yu Ji's chubby cheeks shook. He looked at Han Peipei and said, "Peipei, you will be the first to fight. No matter who you meet, use your supernatural ability to cause as much damage as possible to create opportunities for the rest of the team." Hudong University used to have a coach named Shin Jinfu, but he had a conflict with Yu Ji and couldn't control the troublemaker, so the university reluctantly fired him. Okay. Han Peipei was an introverted girl, so she didn't say much. Looking around, Yu Ji pointed at himself. "I will be the second to fight. I will fight with all my opponents at all costs. Wu Yong, you will be the last to fight. Don't worry about who you will meet. Anyway, do your best." After arranging the order of the fighters, he took a breath and said, "I didn't tell you how to defeat Lin Ke or Lu Qing. I just want you guys to not think about what will happen. Instead, you should focus on what's in front of you and fight one match after another. You should give it your all." Wu Yong, Han Peipei, and the others nodded and said in unison, "Fight." In the locker room of Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Gizershur clapped his hands to break the silence and attract everyone's attention. "Well, Girl Yen, you tell us the most likely order of Hudong University." He looked at Yen Zhika with a smile. The familiar rhythm and process made Li Mao and the others relax a lot. It seemed that this was not a national competition, but just an ordinary competition. Yen Zhika was used to it. She looked up and said, "Let me say something arrogant and conceited. If Hudong wants to beat us, it can only stand on the word fight." Ha! Lu Qing and the others burst into laughter. The tension in the locker room eased a lot. Yen Zhika pursed her lips and said with a smile, Since Hudong University wants to fight with all their strength, they will most likely send Han Pei first. If they can defeat Lin Ke and injure Qing, they will win. Yu Shi will fight in the middle. Wu Yong or other professional ninth pin fighters will finish them off. Let's not talk about anything else, but they will definitely show their aura. Gizershur nodded with satisfaction. Then what should we do? Don't panic. Just do what you say. Yenjika smiled. Anyway, we will follow your orders. Well, let's be cautious in the first match. Don't let any accidents affect our mood later. Gizershur coughed. Yes, we should be cautious. Li Mao and Sun Jian agreed. This caution also includes the consideration of the follow-up. We can't hurt anyone in the first round. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to fight Mingdao and Huahai, right? Gizershur chuckled. Facing Han Pei, who is the least likely to get hurt. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's eyes turned to Lu Qing. Even Lin Ke, who was full of fighting spirit, was persuaded to consider the next two matches. Lu Qing felt everyone's gaze. He smiled and stepped forward. Master, I want to fight first. Let me be the first shot of the martial arts club in the national competition. Go ahead. If you lose, I will beat you with the sole of my shoe. Gizershur laughed and turned to Lin Quebec. Lin Ke, you are the second player. Do you need my advice? No. Lin Ke answered in a low voice. Li Mao, you are the last one to finish them off. Don't be nervous. The first two guys are like wolves and tigers. You may not be able to fight, Gizershur said with a smile. Li Mao's nervousness was completely gone. He smiled and said, I hope they will leave some leftovers for me. After months of hard practice, he had mastered meditation and the internal training method. He had reached the level of a real professional ninth pin. His confidence had increased a lot. As for the substitutes, they will be Kai Zhongming, Sun Jian, and Lin Hua, as usual. Gizershur waved his hand. After waiting for a while, news came from the outside. Huahai had paid the price of injuring the main force, Zhang Dongliang, and the substitute, Deng Yuntao, and narrowly broke the formation of the three He brothers of Mingdao. And He Erlong had shown the realm of Danqi in this match. The formation of the three Dan stage had been formed. Lu Qing and the others didn't care too much about it. Or rather, they didn't have the mood to think about it because it was their turn next. Outside the locker room, the lights were shining down. Lu Qing opened the door and stepped out first. There was a cacophony of cheers and boos everywhere. Chapter 368. At this time, there were many reposts and comments under Lu Cheng's Weibo post. Wonton Seller said, do your best, pats shoulders. Brahman 001 inch sent a cat head emoji. Snacks and screams are ready. Eternal Nightfall sent a heart emoji. Come on. Songqing University will win. You will win too. Lu Cheng's post didn't include anything else but the start of the national competition, so it didn't attract any haters. Of course, there were many sarcastic people everywhere. Don't let Peng Lian win. Although I don't think you'll make it to the top 4, I still believe in you. Peng Lian finished him in 10 moves yesterday and barely warmed up. What about you today? Don't get hurt. That'll give us an excuse. After browsing through the content on the screen returned to the studio. The host, Lu Chang, smiled and looked at the famous commentator, Chen Sanqing. Sanqing, you didn't expect Lu Qing to be the first one, did you? Well, I did. Chen Sanqing was a former mighty one of 6th pin. Because of his good looks, professional commentary, and lazy personality, he didn't pursue martial arts too much. After becoming an internet streamer, he gradually faded out of professional competitions. It's the first time for Songqing University to participate in a national competition. It's normal for them to be scared. It's understandable for them to be cautious. What do you think will happen in the first round between Lu Qing and Han Peipei? Lu Chang led the conversation. Chen Sanqing laughed and said, "The result is obvious. If Lu Qing can't even beat Han Peipei, he won't be qualified to be a candidate for the heavenly son of the age. The focus of this round is how much Lu Qing will consume and how much damage Han Peipei will cause him." That's right. Han Peipei's sound wave supernatural ability is very troublesome. Even a sixth pin expert may not be able to escape unscathed. Sanqing, can you give us a brief analysis of the situation? Lu Chang threw out another topic. Chen Sanqing had already done his homework. He didn't even look at the notebook on the table and began to talk eloquently. The sonic wave supernatural ability has many uses. I will mainly introduce three aspects. First, it allows Han Peipei to detect her opponent through the reflection of the sound wave. This allows her to predict her opponent's movements, which is a level higher than absolute reaction. I will introduce it later. This is the core of her fighting style. Second, it creates ultrasonic waves. Everyone knows that ultrasonic waves can break stones, right? I'm not a scientist. Anyway, I'm just making an analogy. I don't know if it's right or not. Anyway, Han Peipei can use this to affect the subtle parts of the enemy's body, interfere with the force exertion, and interfere with the explosion of the dance stage. The third is the main point. The main point. Han Peipei's infrasound is her most powerful killing weapon. Through resonance, it can cause dizziness, nausea, and even vibration of the 5 viscera and 6 bowels. If it's serious enough, it will cause internal injuries, which may even be fatal. Moreover, it's very difficult for fighters below the inhuman level to effectively guard against it. If they devote a lot of energy and attention to controlling the vibration frequency of the organs, there will inevitably be irreparable flaws in their punches and kicks. Lu Chang added, Sanqing is right. Real martial arts are not like those in novels, where you can cultivate inner force and have genuine qi to protect your body and counteract sound waves. You can only resist or control it by force. So it's very difficult for Lu Qing not to be injured. He deliberately played dumb. Not really. The effect of the infrasound wave has to be sustained for a period of time before it takes effect. It probably depends on the energy. I have a set of data here. According to the data, after Han Peipei advanced to the dance stage and obtained the professional 8th pin certificate, she only needs 5 seconds to make her opponent feel dizzy, nauseous, and other symptoms. As time goes by, the effect becomes more and more obvious. Chen Sanqing flipped through the notebook on the table, coughed twice and said, "The physical fitness of a professional 6th pin fighter is much stronger than that of a professional 8th pin fighter. Let's make a reasonable assumption. When facing Han Peipei, Lu Qing will be affected for about 20 seconds. After 1.5 minutes, he will most likely have internal injuries. The longer the time goes by, the more serious the internal injuries will be. In other words, with the help of force concentration, Lu Qing has to finish the battle within 3 to 5 minutes. That's the only way to avoid internal injuries and prevent them from affecting the rest of the battle." Lu Chang pretended to be enlightened. "No, 2 minutes." Chen Sanqing denied Lu Chang's assumption. "Why?" Lu Chang was really confused this time. Chen Sanqing laughed again and said, "After 20 seconds, Lu Qing will feel dizzy and nauseous. If this continues for a while, how bad will his condition be? Force concentration can relieve, but not completely. If he can't finish Han Peipei in 2 minutes, he will fall into the opponent's rhythm and have to rely on force concentration to resist the influence. First of all, he will consume a lot of energy, and second of all, he will be injured if he makes a mistake. That's right. But for a professional 6th pin fighter, 2 minutes should be enough to finish off Han Pei, who is of professional 8th pin, right? Although Lu Qing hadn't gotten the certificate and was only a professional 8th pin in name, Lu Chang still treated him as a professional 6th pin fighter without any doubt. What a joke. In December, Lu Cheng's combat strength was slightly above that of a professional 6th pin fighter. Now that half a year had passed, with his speed of improvement, there was no problem for him to reach professional 6th pin. That's not necessarily true. Chen Sanqing replied with a smile, this involves Han Pei's fighting style that I just mentioned. She mainly fights with long-range guerrilla warfare. She affects her opponent with ultrasonic waves and weakens him with infrasound waves. When it's about time, she moves closer to attack, but Lu Qing won't just watch her comfortably launch long-range attacks. Lu Chang expressed his doubts. Lu Qing, who is of professional 6th pin, is like a block of wood. After reaching the Dan stage, Han Pei can create more than one kind of sound wave at a time. Under the condition that the total energy is the same, she can use infrasound waves to attack while probing. In other words, she can predict whether her opponent is going to use his Dan stage explosion or his supernatural ability to fight back. She can dodge and advance and is like a cunning rabbit that can't be caught. Since you can't catch it, you can't hit it even if you want to. All you can do is take it passively, Chen Sanqing explained. Well, this is really a bullying style. Before Lu Chang's voice died away, he heard the director's prompt. With a serious expression, he said, okay, the conversation time is about to end. How will Lu Qing counter Han Pei's terrifying fighting style that uses supernatural ability as the core? Let's wait and see. On the arena, the light was so bright that it was as bright as day. Lu Qing and Han Pei came from both sides and climbed the stone steps almost at the same time to face their first match of this competition. Because Han Pei was an introverted girl, the conversation time passed in silence. Lu Qing adjusted his body and mind and thought about his fighting style for the last time. In the seats of the Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Yan Jike unconsciously clenched her hands and looked at the arena with worry and nervousness. She didn't doubt that her boyfriend would win, but she was afraid that he would consume too much energy and suffer internal injuries. In the seats of Hudong University, Yu Xi was very happy. He thought this was the best way to fight. As long as Pei could hurt Lu Qing, he could pick up a wallet. Lin Ke was about the same as him, so he might not lose if they fought again. At that time, it would depend on the performance of the third main force of both sides. The referee looked at the electronic clock, raised his right hand, and took a step back. He said loudly, "Begin." The journey of the Songqing University Martial Arts Club in the national competition officially began. As soon as the referee finished speaking, Lu Qing suddenly formed a seal with his hands and visualized a sharp ancient character in his mind. 9 words formula, the army formula. From the very beginning, he had been looking for a quick fight. At this moment, Han Pei suddenly wriggled her abdomen, opened her throat, and shouted a strange sound first. The sound seemed to be far away, but it was actually very close. It exploded beside Lu Qing and created an opposite wave, which eliminated the army formula from his mouth. The 9 words formula had no effect before the secret was formed. As a powerful supernatural power user in sound waves, Han Pei had repeatedly watched Lu Cheng's competition videos and confirmed that his army formula was a mental attack. After a long time of hard practice, she created her own method of sound wave cancellation. Based on her own characteristics, she opened her mouth at the right time to eliminate Lu Cheng's army formula. Seeing that the effect was perfect, she didn't have time to be happy. She stomped her feet and suddenly changed her direction. At this moment, Lu Qing made the explosion of the Dan stage. He stomped his feet and pounced on her with a cracking sound, like a roaring wind. However, this wind could only miss in the end. As soon as he landed on the ground, Lu Qing retracted his qi and blood, then released it again and pounced on Han Pei with the momentum of double explosion. Just like when he beat Lu Xuanjun, he had the upper hand in terms of both realm and physical strength. Han Pei had already sensed it. She slid and dodged in time. Triple explosion, quadruple explosion. In the chase, Lu Qing only managed to shorten the distance between him and Han Pei. In the live broadcast room, Chen Sanqing looked at his watch and reminded the audience with a smile. It's been 10 seconds. Lu Cheng's expression didn't change. He changed his footwork and turned into a cold wind blowing from the north. He chased after Han Pei quickly and nimbly, reducing the distance between them. Han Pei wasn't nervous at all. She was very confident in her detection ability and dodging skills. When the distance between them was reduced to a certain extent, Lu Qing suddenly raised his arms and made another hand seal while running. Again. Han Pei was afraid that she would be slowed down by the mental attack. She didn't dare to be careless and made the first sound again. In the strange sound waves, Lu Qing gathered strength in his 5 fingers. His hand seal suddenly changed and he uttered a different ancient sound than the army formula. Okay. Boom. He tore through the air and made a crisp sound. He jumped out with a whoosh and was in front of Han Pei in an instant. He quickly swung his arms. This. Han Pei's vision blurred. She had no time to dodge or create a loud sound to disturb his ears. She had to use force concentration and punch back fiercely. At this moment, Lu Cheng's fascia sprung and forcibly withdrew his arm. He stepped on the ground and swung his center of gravity, dodging Han Pei's punch and dodging to the side. The 19th move of the ice sect, Cold Swallow. Bam! In his mind, he saw a frozen river and shaking thunderclouds. His right arm was like a cudgel and struck down. Simplified physical invulnerability, severe warning. Bam! Han Pei barely managed to swing her fist and block the blow. Her whole body seemed to be frozen and temporarily lost the ability to think. White frost appeared on her body and she stood there in a daze. Lu Qing shook his left arm and stopped at Han Pei's neck. Lu Qing wins the first round. The referee announced loudly. In the live broadcast room, Chen Sanqing blurted out, 14 seconds. Han Pei lost in 14 seconds. Chapter 369. 14 seconds. The audience in front of the screen was startled by Chen Sanqing's exclamation. It took them a while to realize what had happened. They were all dumbfounded. In less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds, Lu Qing had defeated Han Pei before her infrasound took effect. Thanks to the host and commentator's explanation, they thought Han Pei was tough to deal with. Phew. Yenjika relaxed her clenched fists and waved at the ring. Qing had defeated Han Pei unscathed. She didn't need to worry about anything else. Beside and behind her, Li Mao, Lin Hua, and the others all jumped up, relieved of their biggest worries. With a swoosh, Yuji suddenly stood up, his eyes fixed on the stage, the fat on his body shaking. Although he couldn't hear the commentator or watch, he could clearly feel how fast Han Pei was defeated. Not only was Lu Qing unscathed, but most of the symptoms such as dizziness and nausea hadn't appeared yet. How could he continue the fight? A real man in 14 seconds. In Lu Cheng's fan forum, Okamoto's fan was the first to react and posted. My Lu Qing is so cool. That commentator uncle's mouth can fit a goose egg in it. Eternal Nightfall sent a I'm so proud of myself emoji. Brahmin proudly wriggled back and forth. My idol is really my idol. Including the conversation time, the whole battle process is not as long as the commentator uncle's analysis. One Punch Superman teacher Lu. Wonton seller turned into a glutinous rice ball and rolled around. She liked to control her expression. After the exclamation, Unparalleled Dragon King typed a lot of words and said with a funny emoji, "This kind of supernatural power fighter is really strong when he is strong. In theory and practice, he has no problem challenging those of higher ranks. But as long as there is an accident that he can't deal with temporarily, he will be very vulnerable. Of course, this refers to the time when he challenges those of higher ranks." Yeah. Who would have thought that Lu Qing had mastered one of the sounds of the Buddhist incantation of 9 words? And it's the kind that can increase his speed explosively. Han Peipei's accident is inevitable. Road to the arena sighed. Ever since he met this guy in Yanling, every time he watched his matches, he would be shocked once or twice. Someone had traced the origin of the army formula and the forwarding formula and identified which 2 characters they were. He also associated them with the Taoist classic, Lin, Bing, Do, Zhi, all are arrayed to advance. Then, according to the naming format of the Daxing Temple's 6-syllable Sanskrit mantra, he named the secret art 9 syllables mantra. Kesu, didn't Lu Qing reveal one of his trump cards? Wonton seller asked with concern. Unparalleled Dragon King laughed, "I think it's worth it. You have to end this as soon as possible to deal with Han Peipei. If you drag this on and get hurt by her, it won't just affect you in today's match." The healing of internal injuries was always slow. In the live broadcast room, Chen Sanqing closed his mouth to hide the gaffe on his face as he listened to the audience's exclamations and applause. Yuji doesn't look good. Lu Chang couldn't help but sigh when he saw Yuji walking up the stone steps like a heavy tank. Of course. If Han Peipei loses like this, Yuji will be in trouble. Chen Sanqing, who was experienced in all kinds of battles, adjusted his mood and became relaxed again. Lu Chang turned to look at his partner and asked in surprise, "Why is Yuji in trouble?" Yuji's talent is extraordinary. Not only does the fat on his body provide him with great strength that surpasses those of the same rank, it is also equivalent to a layer of armor formed by thwart kung fu. It is slippery and soft when hit, and it won't cause much damage. Chen Sanqing explained concisely, in gaming terms, Yuji has high attack, high defense, but low agility. He's perfectly countered by a fighter like Lu Qing. Lu Chang recalled and said, "I remember that Yuji's moves were not slow. His fists and palms almost left afterimages. His moves are not slow, but his movements are slow. Isn't he a live target for Lu Qing?" Chen Sanqing gave his conclusion first and then went on in detail. Yuji's current strength and explosive power of the Dan stage should be equivalent to a weak professional 6th pin fighter. A fighter of the same level would be defeated after 2 or 3 punches. However, as long as his vital parts aren't hit, he won't be seriously injured after a few explosions. As for minor injuries, with the recovery speed of his fat, he'll be alive and kicking again in 2 days. That is to say, when facing a strong opponent, he likes to use this kind of method where you hit me and I punch you back. He often puts his opponent in a difficult position and has a high chance of winning. But Lu Qing is different. He has simplified physical invulnerability and supernatural abilities of ice and fire. How many hits can you take? How many times can he take? And in terms of speed and reaction, he's no match for Lu Qing. If he's not a live target, then what is? Lu Chang gasped and said, "Based on what you said, Yuji can only wait for his death." If Lu Qing had consumed a lot of energy when he was fighting Han Peipei, such as dizziness and nausea, or suffered from internal injuries, Yuji would have had a chance. But now... Hee. Chen Sanqing gave a classic answer. Simplified physical invulnerability is really deadly. Lu Chang couldn't help but sigh. Isn't that right? But simplified physical invulnerability isn't something that can be mastered easily. First, you have to have an inheritance. If you're not a strong person who founded a sect, you can't make something out of nothing. Second, you have to master meditation, which most professional 7th pin fighters don't have. Third, you have to have a corresponding supernatural ability or your physical fitness has reached professional 6th pin. Otherwise, the simplified physical invulnerability won't be very effective. Chen Sanqing took the time to explain to the audience. At this moment, Han Peipei, who had recovered, did a force concentration to turn the coldness in her body into white gas and exhaled. She turned around and walked down with a depressed expression. Her footsteps were slightly unsteady. Thump, thump, thump. Yuji patted her shoulder and stepped into the arena, as if showing off his weight. On the way here, he had thought it through. At this point, the only thing left was to fight. He had to fight his way out of all the difficulties and dangers. He had to fight for a chance of survival from a hopeless situation. Thump. Yuji stood still. His fat jiggled, making him look smooth. The referee took a deep breath, raised his right hand, and announced, "Begin." Lu Qing took half a step forward, hooked his left arm forward, shook his wrist, and shot out a ray of crystal white cold light that moved close to the ground. At the same time, he swung his right arm and swung his wrist in the opposite direction, throwing a tyrannical red fireball over the enemy's head. Burning ice and fire. He was taking advantage of Yuji's movement speed. Yuji arched his back slightly and jumped forward, dodging the cold light and crashing into the fireball with the weight of Mount Tai. Boom! The fireball exploded, and flames danced in the air. Yuji's clothes were torn, and his fat jiggled. His body was only slightly blackened, but his defense was amazing. Bam! His feet landed on the ground, shaking the arena as if it had been hit by a huge rock. Lu Qing took advantage of this opportunity and slid to the front of him. His chi, blood, force, and spirit contracted and then released. Bam! His right arm swelled, as if he was holding a giant hammer, and swung it at Yuji's thick neck. Yuji didn't even look at him. His neck suddenly swelled, and the fat on his body expanded. He stretched out his right arm, and with his height and arm length, he slapped Lu Cheng's head at an extremely fast speed. "If you hit my neck, I might not be seriously injured. But if I hit your head, you won't be able to take it. And maybe I can hit you before you do. I don't care if you're a simplified physical invulnerability master. You'll lose anyway." Lu Qing didn't want to fight head-on. He released his force and leaned forward, dodging the slap. Then he moved to the side and did a force concentration. His left fist smashed out like a tsunami towards Yuji's waist. Yuji's fat jiggled, and he suddenly kicked to the side. Attack for attack, an injury for an injury. Lu Cheng's fascia sprung up, and he forced his left fist to Yuji's back. Yuji didn't mess up his footwork and turned his body in time. "Not bad," Lu Qing praised. He raised his left arm and crossed it in front of his chest. His right hand clenched into a fist, and under the stimulation of his chi and force, he punched at his opponent's dantian. Yuji used the same trick again. His arm stretched out like an ape, and his fat jiggled as he swung it at Lu Cheng's head. At this moment, Lu Qing suddenly retracted his chi and blood and did a force concentration. He stopped his right fist by force. This time, he didn't use his dantian chi because of the balance between ice and fire. Instead, he quickly released his force concentration and calmed his force. His left arm suddenly swung out in front of his chest to counter Yuji's slap. At the same time, the river in his mind froze, and the waves froze. Boom! Thunderclouds appeared, shaking the entire area. Bam! Lu Cheng's left arm hit Yuji's palm. In an instant, a layer of white frost appeared on the surface of Yuji's body, and the light in his eyes became sluggish. But his defense was indeed amazing. Under such circumstances, he could still pull out his left leg slowly. Lu Qing took advantage of Yuji's sluggishness and slid to the side. Force concentration and forward punch. Pft! The punch hit Yuji's ribs. His fat jiggled, soft and slippery. Only then did he recover from the severe warning. He quickly retracted his qi and blood, force, and cold wave. Lu Qing didn't stop after his successful move. He moved quickly and exploded one after another, not giving his opponent a chance to recover. Double explosion, triple explosion, quadruple explosion, quintuple explosion. Bam, 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 bam. Lu Qing swung his arms and moved nimbly, hitting Yuji repeatedly. Yuji's fat jiggled and was about to explode. No matter how tough Yuji's body was, he couldn't withstand such an attack that could tear down a building. He was close to being seriously injured. Gritting his teeth, he suddenly jumped forward and pounced on Lu Qing. He wanted to use his advantage of his body to push Lu Qing to the ground and win in the midst of defeat. Whoosh! With a gust of wind, Yuji charged at Lu Qing like a mountain toppling a jade pillar. Lu Qing had watched many of Yuji's battle videos and was prepared for this. He suddenly flicked his fascia and used the north wind footwork to dodge the attack. Turning around, he used force concentration and whipped his leg on Yuji's back. Bam! Yuji was sent flying and smashed into the ground. Stone chips flew everywhere and cracks spread. He lay there, struggling for a while, but couldn't stand up anymore. If it were anyone else, they would have been beaten to a pulp. Of course, the referee would have stopped them. The referee looked at Lu Qing and saw that he didn't want to attack again. He raised his right hand and announced the result. Round 2, Lu Qing wins. The audience was silent. Lu Chang and Chen Sanqing in the live broadcast room were also speechless. Too fast. Too brutal. They didn't know what to say. After a moment of silence, the audience became excited. Suddenly, a shout came from the stands. 1 against 3. The shouts gradually merged into a torrent. 1 against 3. 1 against 3. 1 against 3. Chapter 370. 1 against 3. 1 against 3. Hearing the excited shouts, Lu Qing smiled and turned to look at the seats of Hudong University. He saw the tall and thin Wu Yong slowly stand up with a serious face. It's meaningless to leave a professional ninth pin opponent for my brother-in-law, and anyone with a discerning eye can see that I still have some strength left. If I leave now, it'll seem like I'm discriminating against the weak and disrespectful to Wu Yong as a fighter. Besides, I haven't really done 1 against 3. I have to experience it. Since it's like this, I'll be a good man until the end. Lu Qing made up his mind and moved his feet slightly apart. He repositioned his stance and pretended to be waiting for the third round. He was eager to have a try. No matter how much experience he had, no matter how mature he was, he couldn't hide the fact that he was only 20 years old. His vigor and vitality had not left him yet. Isn't there a song that goes like this? It basically means that even if you're older, you're still the young man in your heart. Seeing Lu Cheng's posture, the surrounding audience understood what he meant. All of a sudden, they started cheering in unison, each louder than the last. In the final round of the National University Martial Arts Competition, 1 against 3 was not a common thing. It seems that Lu Qing is really going to 1 against 3. In the live broadcast room, the host, Lu Chang, said with a smile. Chen Sanqing shook his head and said with a smile, "It can't be helped. In the case of the weak fighting against the strong, one wrong move will cause the whole game to collapse." When Han Pei was shaken by Lu Cheng's newly learned Buddhist incantation of 9 words, you can imagine what will happen next. Alas, I just predicted that Yu Xi would be a live target, but I didn't expect him to lose so quickly. Yeah, I thought that with his fat body, he would be able to withstand dozens of moves. But Lu Cheng sighed. But he was easily defeated. Hedong University was about to get 3 kills, which was a bit embarrassing. It can't be helped. Yu Xi's fighting style is to force others to fight head-on. How can one not wet his shoes if he always walks by the river? It's too difficult for him to avoid a head-on fight with Lu Cheng's simplified physical invulnerability. It's only a matter of time before he loses. Chen Sanxing stared at Wu Yong, who was slowly walking to the arena, and said, Lu Cheng's skill of balancing the Dan and returning qi and blood is more and more perfect. It's impossible to defend. It's normal for Yu Xi to be defeated. Well, the 3rd round is about to start. Sanxing, give us a brief review of the fight. Lu Cheng controlled the time. The specific situation is similar to my analysis before the competition. Lu Cheng. Lu Qing was of a professional martial artist of professional 6th pin when he fought with Peng Liyun in December last year. No. The most practical thing is that he hasn't gotten the certificate of professional 6th pin. He's not a real professional 6th pin fighter. A 20-year-old professional 8th pin fighter is just a so-so. Lu Cheng made a joke with a joke on Weibo. Chen Sanxing laughed and then sighed with emotion. Let's not compare him with Peng Liyun. Lu Qing deserves to be called God's favored son. Well, he's not a candidate. The commentators are praising Lu Qing so much that I'm blushing. Humility, we have to be humility. Eternal Nightfall, Yan Shaoling posted with an emoji of bursting with joy. Yeah. I feel embarrassed for them. Wonton Seller sent a dancing emoji. I don't want to say anything. I just want to shout. 1 against 3. 1 against 3. Brahman sent a waving red flag. You girls only know how to be love-struck. Can't you be a little more technical? Unparalleled Dragon King sent a disdainful emoji. In my opinion, that fatty is really pitiful. If it were some other weak professional 6th pin fighters without supernatural abilities or simplified physical invulnerability, he might not have lost. His fighting style is restrained and his teammates are not strong enough. What else can he do? Rode to the arena, wandered over and spread his hands. Flying Steed in Space sent an emoji of laughing out loud. Fatty's tragic expression just now made me laugh to death. After seeing that Han Pei didn't cause any damage, he probably gave up. Only Fatty. If it were someone else, they would have been killed by such a series of explosions. Red blood and white turbidity flying everywhere. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm talking about brain matter. Okamoto's fan joked. The 2 leading fighters of the opponent were defeated. There was no doubt about the victory. The atmosphere in the forum was lively and relaxed. In the seating area of Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Yan Zhike changed her sitting posture. She secretly glanced at her cousin to confirm his opinion on Cheng's 1 versus 3. Lin Ke was still wearing his thin jacket. His expression was calm without any ripples. He had no intention to fight. He really didn't have the energy to bully a fighter of professional 9th pin who didn't affect the overall situation. He was waiting for Ching to 1 versus 3. Yan Zhike was completely relieved. She looked at the arena happily. Li Mao, Sun Jian and the others had taken out their phones. They pretended to be onlookers and began to record the first victory of Songqing University Martial Arts Club in the national competition after so many years. In the arena, Yu Xi supported himself with both hands and struggled to get up. His head was bruised and swollen with 2 bloody dragons hanging from it. He nodded to Lu Qing and walked towards the stone steps with his fat jiggling. Although he was a little staggered, his steps were not weak. Looking at his back and the shallow human-shaped pit on the ground, Lu Qing couldn't help but take a deep breath. He admired his opponent's ability to take hits. Walking on the road, even if he was hit by a car, he just turned over and patted the dust off. He would be fine. If it were Lu Qing himself, he would definitely be injured if he didn't take the hit with his body. Walking slowly, Yuji looked at the road under his feet and sighed inexplicably in his heart. My martial arts career in university is really coming to an end. Wu Yong smiled bitterly and looked at him. He removed all his burdens and stepped into the arena step by step. For him, if he wanted to make a comeback in this situation, he could only hope that a meteorite would fall from the sky and kill or injure a group of people from Songqing University Martial Arts Club. There was no other way. So, he didn't think about anything else. He just wanted to experience the battle with a 6th pin fighter of Dan's stage. He stood in front of Lu Qing, took his stance and looked at his opponent. Lu Qing lowered his waist and stretched out his right arm, making a gesture of opening the door to welcome the guest. The referee didn't waste any time. He waved his arm and shouted, "Start." Bam, bam, bam. Wu Yong's muscles and bones sounded together, like a sports car accelerating to the limit. In the whistling wind, he moved nimbly and jumped to Lu Cheng's side. He suddenly put his feet inward, twisted his waist and turned his back. Using his arm as a whip, he fiercely lashed out. Bam! Lu Qing didn't move. He raised his hand and accurately blocked the attack. At this moment, Wu Yong's left foot kicked out quickly. The squirming of his muscles offset the signs of friction. It was silent and breathless. Fatal hidden kick. However, just as he put strength into his leg, Lu Qing had already kicked out from the side. He accurately kicked the sole of his foot and turned the wind into nothingness. Wu Yong suppressed the fluctuation of his emotions and used his footwork. He attacked Lu Qing from the front, the back, and the side. He kept using the double chaos hammer. But Lu Qing didn't move. He always made a move in time and blocked his opponent's every attack. It was like a master teaching his disciple. After a round of fierce attacks, Wu Yong was about to take a break. When he was about to step back and increase the distance between them, he saw Lu Qing swing his right arm back and close to his fist as fast as the wind. He hurriedly tried to stop, but Lu Qing flicked his elbow and opened his 5 fingers. He caught his wrist and quickly pulled back. Wu Yong couldn't bear it. His body swayed forward. Lu Qing bent his shoulder and elbowed him in the chest. The referee secretly yawned, raised his hand and shouted, "Lu Qing wins the 3rd round. Songqing University Martial Arts Club wins this round." Not bad, not bad. Hearing the referee's voice, Wu Yong was relieved. He felt that his performance was normal and that he didn't lose face. Of course, it was also because Lu Qing was kind and didn't use force concentration or supernatural killing moves. Just as he straightened his body, his eyes suddenly froze as he realized a fact. Lu Qing hadn't moved a single step since the start of the battle. Just by standing there, he had already won. With a boom, the audience burst into enthusiastic cheers. Triple kill! Triple kill! Triple kill! After a few shouts, someone took the lead and gradually other voices sounded in the audience. From chaos to uniformity, they echoed in the surroundings. God's favored son. God's favored son. God's favored son. Lu Qing smiled and waved his arms at the audience. Then he turned around and left the arena. When he returned to the seats of Songqing University Martial Arts Club, his eyes met Yan Jike's joyful eyes. According to the rules, the one who wins the 1 versus 3 has to treat the whole team to a big meal. Kai Zhongming jumped out like a light bulb between the two. Since he was in the capital and close to his girlfriend, he was in good condition in all aspects. What rules? How come I don't know about it? Lu Qing looked at him suspiciously. Little Ming smiled proudly. Our team committee just unanimously approved the rules. Where did the team committee come from? Lu Qing asked, amused. It was just set up. Kai Zhongming laughed. Then I'll treat you to the capital's barbecue tonight. Lu Qing wanted to invite everyone to celebrate his good start. Ahem. Geezer sure interrupted. Since you're not tired, tomorrow's relaxation training will be cancelled. Let's start the cooperation training. Take it easy on the supper. Next match, Songqing University vs Mingdao. Geezer sure didn't rush to teach the members who lacked the foundation of formations. Instead, he asked them to cooperate with each other in pairs. Yes, coach. Yenjike and the others answered cheerfully. After the supper, Yenjike returned to her room, washed up, and went to bed after a while of cuddling with Lu Qing. After saying good night to each other, she browsed the martial arts section of various portals before going to bed. She secretly looked at how others praised Qing. The pages appeared and the titles jumped into her eyes. 10 warm-up moves are nothing. Lu Qing overturned Hudong by himself. This is the first 1 versus 3 in this competition. Lu Qing did it with ease. Because of him, the death group won't die. Remove the candidate, the heavenly son of the age. Chapter 371. Apart from the news, there was also a craze on Weibo. Many people tagged the famous martial artist all-knowing man in ganghood, what do you want to say? Come, let's take a look. Smirk, waiting for your comments on Lu Cheng's performance. In this trend, all-knowing man in ganghood once again posted a long Weibo, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? In the long Weibo post in December last year, I wrote very clearly that Lu Qing is expected to advance from a weak 6th pin to a normal 6th pin by April this year because he has mastered more unique skills and rich combat experience. Am I not right? Was it not within my expectations? Is he now directly at the inhuman stage? At that time, the reason why I said that his status as the heavenly son of the age still needs to be observed was because his rapid improvement benefited from the benefits of the 2 awakenings of his supernatural ability. He was not like Renli and Peng Liyun, who walked step by step on the martial path. This difference to a large extent will determine the different paths of their development. Everyone has eyes and can see that Peng Liyun's improvement in strength in the past year has not slowed down. Instead, it has accelerated. Renli is the same. Although she is not as fast as Peng Liyun because of her age and the time she has spent practicing martial arts, compared to the past, there is a trend of acceleration. As for Lu Qing, after losing the benefits, the speed of his improvement has obviously slowed down. 1 year to 7th pin, 4 months to advance from a weak 7th pin to a weak 6th pin. These are all terrifying and rapid improvements. But now, almost 4 months have passed and Lu Qing has only advanced from a weak 6th pin to a normal 6th pin. Many martial artists who have cultivated to this level can do it. Of course, Lu Cheng's performance in the first battle was at ease. Obviously, he did not use his full strength. What I said was too arbitrary. His combat strength may have reached a strong 6th pin, or even the top 6th pin. But I dare to bet that he has not reached the inhuman stage. Besides, with his slow improvement speed, it will be difficult for him in another year. He will encounter the first bottleneck on the martial arts road. Whether he can overcome it or not, whether he can overcome it in 2 years, will determine whether he is a heavenly son of the age or not. As a rational, neutral, and objective evaluator, I'll put my words here. If Lu Qing can reach the inhuman stage within this year, I'll remove this title and never use it again." In the face of all-knowing man and Ganghood's decisive words, many of the people who came to join in the fun were influenced. They quietly took screenshots and waited for the day when they could take them out. He had hundreds of thousands of fans, and his daily reposts and comments could reach up to thousands. Just thinking about the income from advertising every month was enough to make people envious. Once he deleted his account, the loss of all-knowing man and Ganghood wouldn't just be a matter of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. I've heard that internet celebrities of this caliber can earn tens of thousands of yuan with just a small advertisement, one a day. How much would that cost? It's impossible to advertise every day. Anyway, it's definitely not a problem to earn hundreds of thousands a month. All-knowing man and Ganghood is really going all out this time. He's going all out, but it doesn't benefit Lu Qing at all. Other than the emotional stimulation, there's no other benefit. He's simply harming others without benefiting himself. Tisk tsk, don't be fooled by all-knowing man and Ganghood. Think about it, Peng Liyun was close to the inhuman stage in December. It's been almost 4 months now, and it seems like he hasn't broken through yet. Lu Qing definitely hasn't reached his level at that time, and his speed of improvement has obviously slowed down. It's not too much to double the time he needs, right? It's almost certain that he won't be able to break through within 8 months, right? And what's 8 months from now? It's December. What was all-knowing man and Ganghood's original words? Within the year. Damn, isn't this a sure win for him? He didn't bet with anyone, so it's useless even if he wins. No way. With such a gimmick, he can gain a lot of fans. Who knows how much the value of his account will increase? Hey, smart. Waiting for the end of the year, waiting for a miracle to happen. In Lu Chang's fan forum, there was also a heated discussion about this matter. Seeing that there was a betting company, Yan Shaoling reluctantly took out 500 yuan of pocket money and bet on the option of Lu Qing reaching the inhuman stage within the year, all-knowing man and Ganghood's self-titled account. The odds were 1 to 13. Come, buy if you want. You won't lose out or be cheated with just a few dozen yuan. Take a gamble, and a bicycle will turn into a motorcycle. Okamoto's fan had transformed into a gambling addict and was shouting everywhere in the forum. He had bet a month's worth of cigarette money. Lu Qing woke up on time and got up on time. Putting away the excitement and joy of yesterday's 1 versus 3, he calmed down again and continued his daily morning exercises. When he returned to the hotel and had a buffet breakfast with Yan Zhike, she found the Weibo of all-knowing man and Ganghood and showed it to him. This guy is so despicable, using you to create hype. Yan Zhike puffed up her cheeks. Reaching the inhuman stage within the year. Lu Qing chewed on these 4 words. He was a little irritated and a little amused at the same time. Is he really sure that I won't be able to break through by then? My progress in these 4 months has slowed down a lot compared to before, but it's still much better than I expected. The training from that life and death battle was pretty useful. The breakthrough of willpower was the most direct, and this was one of the core contents of Dan's stage training. With the passage of time, it could be fed back to the spirit and affect the physical body. Yan Zhike didn't say much about this, as she was afraid that it would affect Lu Cheng's state of mind and state. She just outlined her dimples and said, "Yes, I'll give him a surprise when the time comes. Yes, I'll work hard. I won't respond now, in case he uses me to create hype again." Lu Qing stuffed a piece of toast into his mouth. After breakfast and a 20-minute rest, they walked to the martial arts gym they had booked and started today's special training. Since the 3 He brothers from Mingdao had already been chosen as their opponents, Gizershur had gradually increased the daily practice of cooperation after he returned from the winter vacation. However, specific and targeted training could never replace the regular practice. It could not be used to overshadow the main practice, or it would affect the improvement of every player. Because of this, until they passed the challenge of Hudong, Songqing University Martial Arts Club's pre-match practice focused on cooperation. After lunch, Lu Qing originally wanted to take Yan Jike to walk around the capital and relax for half a day. However, the girl had to fight against Ming Dao, which was very important to her. She didn't want to go out, so she wanted to stay in the room and watch the video of the fight between Hua Hai and Ming Dao over and over again to grasp every detail. Lu Cheng, of course, took his little fairy's opinion as the most important, so he stayed and thought about it with her. When they were tired and needed to relax, it was inevitable that a single man and a single woman would whisper sweet nothings to each other. Lu Cheng suddenly felt that this was quite good. It was much more interesting than walking around the Forbidden City and watching cherry blossoms. In the girls' dormitory of Capital College, Chiu Hailin, with a ponytail and a big forehead, walked quickly to the small dormitory. During this period, she felt that the world around her had become unreal. In class, in the dormitory, and at work in the student union, most of her classmates and teachers were always excitedly discussing the final round of the National University Martial Arts competition, even if 70% or 80% of them didn't pay much attention to the martial arts circle. Chiu Hailin didn't feel like she was hallucinating. However, when her classmates and teachers talked about the martial arts competition, they often mentioned a very familiar name, Lu Cheng. This was the name that was mentioned the most frequently, second only to Ren Li and Peng Liyun. For Chiu Hailin, her high school classmates, the classmates she would occasionally meet during the holidays, were repeatedly mentioned and praised by the people around her and in her daily life. It really made her feel like she was dreaming. During the provincial youth tournament, she watched the match on the spot. Her acquaintances were the kind that knew Lu Qing. Listening to their discussion and lamenting, she felt that Qing had become very powerful and was no longer in the same world as them. Apart from that, she didn't feel anything else. When the youth tournament ended and she returned to Shushan, the trend had passed. Only her parents and friends would ask if he was her high school classmate, and then they would sigh and lament for a while. In other words, this matter didn't intrude on her daily life. But now, her classmates, both familiar and unfamiliar, and the teacher, who used to preach great principles, were all talking about Lu Qing, a person they didn't know. Even her roommate, Ding Yisin, had almost become a fangirl. Suddenly, Chiu Hailin had some thoughts that she didn't usually have. If I tell them that Lu Qing is my high school classmate and we have a good relationship, how will they react? With this expectation, she opened the door of the small dormitory and saw Ding Yisin and the others, either in front of the computer or lying on the bed, browsing the news and Weibo, discussing Lu Qing and the three He brothers. What are you talking about? Chiu Hailin asked knowingly. We're talking about the martial arts tournament. Ding Yisin, with ordinary features and fair skin, said excitedly, the three He brothers' formation won't be a problem for Lu Qing. Lu Qing. Chiu Hailin seized the opportunity and asked, who are you talking about? Hailin, what's wrong? Ding Yisin, who didn't usually talk about the martial arts tournament in the dormitory, was surprised. She smiled blankly and said, Lu Qing and you are from the same hometown, Xing Province. He's from Xing Province. Let me see his photo. Chiu Hailin showed her surprise and excitement. Ding Yisin handed her phone to her and said, we're from the same hometown. Before she could finish, she heard Chiu Hailin exclaim in a low voice, my classmate. Your classmate? Ding Yisin and the others opened their eyes wide. Yes, my high school classmate. We have a good relationship. Is he so famous? Chiu Hailin unlocked her phone and showed the group photo she had prepared beforehand to Ding Yisin and the others. Wow! Ding Yisin suddenly got excited. She climbed out of bed and pulled Chiu Hailin's sleeve. I didn't know. Hailin, you're so good at hiding your true colors. Come on, tell me what Lu Qing was like before. Hai Lin, you're such a love-struck fool. Hai Lin, help me get some autographs of Lu Qing. Dui rolled her eyes at Ding Yisin. While chatting, Chiu Hai Lin excitedly shared Lu Cheng's high school anecdotes with her roommates. Under their bright eyes, she enjoyed an indescribable satisfaction. When she calmed down a little, she remembered to check the time of Lu Cheng's next match. She planned to watch it when she had time. Well, it's tomorrow night. Chiu Hai Lin whispered to herself. Songqing University vs Mingdao. Chapter 372. 7:30 p.m., in the girls' dormitory of Capital College. Chiu Hai Lin, who couldn't get a ticket to the martial arts stadium in the city, turned on the computer like her roommates, Ding Yisin, Du Yin, and the other programs. Then she saw the host, Lu Chang, and the guest commentator, Chen Sanqing. The only difference was that there were no snacks on her table, only a bottle of yogurt. Lu Cheng's first match today, right? Chiu Hai Lin asked. Yeah. Ding Yisin answered vaguely, her mouth stuffed with delicious salted egg yolk biscuits. It seems to be a special rule. Asked Du Yin, who usually didn't watch martial arts competitions but was attracted by the excitement around her. She tore off the packaging of her snacks and asked with a rice roll in her hand. Ding Yisin took a sip of water and said with satisfaction, of course. The three brothers of Qingdao, no, Mingdao will definitely team up. I read on the news that they applied for a special competition yesterday, 3 against 6. So Songqing University will have an advantage. Chiu Hai Lin was confused, but she didn't want to ask. She turned her eyes to the screen and listened attentively to the guest commentator. In the studio, the host Lu Chang guided the topic. Today's match is very important for both Songqing University and Mingdao. If Mingdao loses, it'll say goodbye to the national competition. If Songqing University loses, it'll be at a disadvantage in the competition for the first place in the group. Shanbei has already won 2 consecutive matches, and Capital is also at ease. They've already secured the first place in their group. No one in the other groups wants to be the second and be forced to fight with them earlier. Chen Sanqing said jokingly, think about it. There will be highlights like Shanbei vs Songqing University and Capital vs Huahai in the quarterfinals. I can only describe it with this line, it's too beautiful to watch, actually, it's a good thing. At least the quarterfinals will get more attention. Lu Chang looked at his partner and said, Sanqing, what do you think Songqing University has to win this match? It's hard to say. Mingdao is not easy to deal with. Didn't Tianhua Hai win only when someone was injured? Chen Sanqing thought for a while and said. Yes. Lu Chang nodded. The He brothers' ability to advance and retreat as one is indeed very strong. If not for the influence of Xing Jingjing's illusion ability, Huahai would have had to pay a price to have a chance of winning them. At least in Chaoyang's energy consumption would have doubled. Yeah, that's the strongest point of the He brothers. They seem to have telepathy and are able to maintain the formation while moving at high speed. They can attack with tacit understanding instead of staying in the same spot and being attacked passively. That day, and Chaoyang couldn't pay attention to one thing and lose sight of another. Chen Sanqing added, it's not impossible for Songqing University to fail miserably. Lu Chang laughed when he heard that. How is this a sewer? With the strength of Mingdao, they can be considered as a big river. Their active attack can effectively offset the advantage of the other teams, and they can even restrain the strong points of the opponents. But then again, the Bing formula in Lu Cheng's Buddhist incantation of 9 words has a special effect of mental attack. For now, the formation of the He brothers is more afraid of this kind of attack. Didn't I say that before? Hudong is actually very similar to Mingdao. They just need to let the three substitutes and Wu Yong, the main force, go down directly to avoid being affected. Yu Xi is a good shield, and Han Pei is a wandering infrasound. How can the three brothers last longer than a monster that can explode multiple times? Chen Sanqing laughed. As for Lu Cheng's Dharma Seal of 9 Buddhist incantation, I noticed that it is used by combining hand gestures and visualization. It probably has a direction. Even if it doesn't have a direction, it will affect the person who is in the front the most. The effect will decrease as time goes by. This way, the three brothers won't be completely at a loss. Lu Chang took over the topic. I'm looking forward to this competition now. Sanqing, have you noticed the hot topic on Weibo these days? You mean all-knowing man in ganghood is betting that Lu Qing won't be able to reach the inhuman stage in his adult life? Chen Sanqing and all-knowing man in ganghood were both internet celebrities in the martial arts circle. They were familiar with each other. Yes, what do you think about this? Who do you think will win? Lu Chang asked with a smile. Chen Sanqing replied tactfully, I really can't tell. Lu Qing is a martial artist who is good at creating miracles. He can almost overturn other people's predictions every time. What all-knowing man in ganghood said is not unreasonable. I was in a dilemma. After careful consideration, I felt that both of them were possible, so I went to bet on Lu Qing will reach the inhuman stage in his adult life. Why? You said no, and you were confused, but your body was honest. Lu Chang joked. Not really. I just thought that the odds were high. Anyway, I didn't spend much money. What if a miracle happened? Wouldn't I make a lot of money? Chen Sanqing laughed at himself. Lu Chang shook his head. How do you think gambling companies make money? The higher the odds, the more money they give to the gambling companies. Okay, let's stop talking about this. Let's look at the highlights of the first 2 rounds of the competition. How can there be highlights of the first 2 rounds of Lu Cheng's match? It's only a few seconds. Chen Sanqing raised his bar and waited for the countdown. In the locker room, Geezer sure drank a mouthful of wine and looked at his teammates with a smile. There's nothing to say about this match. You all know how good the 3 boys of the He family are. Lu Cheng, Lin Ke, Yan Zhike, Li Mao, Kai Zhongming, Lin Hua, the 6 of you will fight. Don't be too nervous. Remember what you usually practice. Don't look at me, brat. I'm not talking about you. Yes. Lu Qing and the others answered excitedly. Their morale was quite high. When the match was about to start, they asked Sun Jian, Qi Zi, and Wang Dali to join them. Once again, they gathered in a circle and shouted together, "We'll win. Songqing University will win. If we win this match, we'll be in the top 8 in the country. Even if Hudong can beat Huahai, we'll lose the next match and enter the stage of the competition. We're not targeting anyone by shaving Hudong's head." After shouting the slogan, Lu Qing pushed open the door of the locker room and took the lead to walk out. The crowd was like a sea, and the overhead lights were as bright as day. On the side of Mingdao University, He Fang looked at his 3rd brother who was still playing with his mobile phone. Can't you take a break? The match is about to start. If we lose again, we'll have to pack up and go back to school. Okay, it's fine as long as we finish this match. Damn it, even when we're playing a game, there are people showing off their love and dragging us down. He Santai said without raising his head. Brother, why do you care so much? You're only in your 3rd year. You still have 1 year to go. Peng Liyun and Renli are only in their 3rd year. Our period of rapid improvement is over. At most, we'll have a 7th pin fighter next year. The overall improvement of our strength is limited. Peng Liyun and Renli are 99% at the inhuman stage. Maybe Lu Qing is also at the inhuman stage. Then what chance do we have? When I graduate, there'll only be 2 of you left. There's no need to fight. He Fang said with disappointment. The substitutes at the side were enjoying their daily bickering with relish, without the pressure of the match. He Santai finally finished playing. He raised his head and looked at his brother in surprise. Brother, I didn't expect you to be such a person. You want to win the championship. You can't judge a book by its cover. I don't. He Fang was stunned. If you don't, why do you care if Peng Liyun, Ren Li, and Lu Qing are at the inhuman stage? Anyway, it won't be a problem for our group to qualify next year. Let's see if we can get into the top 4 by luck. He Santai said with a "you're thinking too much" expression. He Fang was stunned. You're right, but, he felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. He Erlong chimed in, a person has to have lofty ambitions. Before he could finish, He Fang and He Santai turned their heads at the same time and shouted, "Shut up, anime addict. Throw away all your figurines before you say that." After a short moment of silence, the coach, who had no sense of presence, clapped his hands and said weakly, "It's time to go out." Looking at each other, the 3 He brothers slowly shed their usual state. Their eyes were full of vigor, and there was an obvious desire to fight. "Let's go," they said in unison, as if one person was talking. "Songqing University is strong, but we won't give up. And it's not impossible." When the frequency of posts on Lu Cheng's fan forum decreased, Yan Shaoling and the rest shifted their attention back to the live broadcast screen. A total of 9 contestants from both sides had already entered the arena. Yan Zhike and Lin Hua were standing back to back, so were Kai Zhongming and Li Mao. Lu Qing and Lin Ke were standing in front of them, staring at the 3 He brothers opposite them. The 3 brothers were taking He Fang as the arrowhead. The special competition didn't allow time for conversation. After a minute of adjustment, the referee raised his right hand and said loudly, "Begin." Dong! The 3 He brothers stepped to the side in unison. Their movements were neat and uniform. From afar, it looked like the same person had copied and pasted them. Dang dang dang. Their steps were the same size and speed were the same. They maintained their initial position and distance while running at a high speed. They wanted to bypass Lu Qing with the dexterity and agility that was beyond imagination, and wandered toward Yan Zhike and Lin Hua. Chapter 373. Is this a shadow doppelganger? Except for their height and appearance, they look exactly the same. As soon as the match started, similar comments sprung up like bamboo shoots after a rain in the forums, Weibo, and bullet screen. Lu Qing flicked his wrist and shook out a ball of glittering white cold light and a tyrannical red fireball, blocking the 3 He brothers from the ground and the air respectively. Burning ice and fire. Then he bulged his leg muscles and pulled up his pants. Like a cheetah on steroids, he turned his body sideways and fiercely pounced on the back of his enemies to kill them. Yan Zhike and Lin Hua kept a very close distance and took the initiative to move forward to meet their opponents. Lin Ke, Li Mao, and Kai Zhongming also came to attack them from 2 sides. At this moment, the He brothers stopped halfway and turned around to face Lu Qing in unison. The cold light on the ground and the fireball in the air brushed past them and exploded in a place where no one was around. Flames and smoke filled the air. Lu Qing was right in front of him. Without slowing down, he straightened his back, pulled back his right arm, and threw a forward punch at He Fang, who was in the middle of the group. He Fang's arm turned into a sword and turned back to slash horizontally. As soon as he touched Lu Cheng's fist, he felt that his opponent was much more powerful than him. He couldn't help but stagger back and take a step back. He had expected this. His shoulder exploded with strength, and the long sword turned into a half-arc, turning the slash into a lead. He led Lu Cheng's fist to hit him. This combined with Lu Cheng's momentum made Yifang's center of gravity shake, and his body moved forward. At the same time, He Erlong and He Santai, who had maintained a distance of half a step, moved. One of them rushed forward and thrust out his right arm at high speed, aiming for the opponent's waist. The other took a step forward and kicked between the opponent's legs, forming a perfect coordination with Yifang's lead. Heaven and Earth Mortal Sword Formation. Their real target was not Lin Hua and Yenjika at all. It was just a diversion. At the beginning of the match, they took advantage of the time difference to attack the opponent's main general to catch him off guard. In the face of such a terrifying pincer attack, Lu Qing quickly took a deep breath and let his qi and blood flow back to his lower abdomen. He even hugged his dantian and stabilized his body. Boom! His Dan force gushed out. His left hand held horizontally and rebounded towards He Erlong's right fist like a pipe. Then, an electric current passed through his tailbone and his right leg bounced out like a conditioned reflex. He stood on one leg. Lu Cheng's continuous moves seemed to be in a hurry, but in fact, there was order in the chaos. There was a distinction between the front and the back, and there was a distinction between the primary and secondary. He was able to see through the attacks of the two enemies as clearly as if he was watching a fire. Paw! Bang! The surface of He Erlong's fist was struck with 5 blood-red marks, and He Santai's whip kick was sent flying back. Fighting 1 against 2 and not falling into a disadvantageous position. If Lu Qing was the only enemy, Yifang, who had retreated, would have rushed forward again and attacked Lu Cheng's central palace. He would have played the rotation of the Heaven and Earth Mortal World Sword Formation to the best of his ability, making the 6th pin mighty one of the Dan stage unable to deal with him. However, Songqing University had the advantage of numbers. Lin Ke, Yenjika, and Kai Zhongming were approaching. Of course, Yifang didn't want to fall into such a tight encirclement at the beginning. He retreated and turned around. While Lu Qing was dealing with He Erlong and He Santai, he suddenly rushed to the front of Yenjika and Lin Hua, twisting his waist and back aggressively and swinging his arm. Paw! His fist was like a sword tip, slashing at Yenjika's face like lightning. Yenjika didn't panic. She followed her usual practice and braced her feet, ignoring everything else. With a crack, she raised her arms to block Yifang's fist. Lin Hua, on the other hand, didn't defend. She took half a step forward and chopped down with her fist. If they were facing only one enemy, the principle of their cooperation was one to defend and one to attack. At this time, Yifang suddenly dispersed his strength and rolled his center of gravity like Mercury. He moved to Yenjika's back like a ghost, which made her defense ineffective and also made Lin Hua's attack miss. Paw! Yifang lowered his waist and punched at the right side of Yenjika's back like the seabed collapse. If it were any other enemy, he would have punched directly in the spine. But facing such a beautiful girl, he couldn't help but show some mercy. As someone said, being good-looking was equivalent to weakening the supernatural ability of charm. On the other side, He Erlong, who had 5 bloody scratches on the back of his hand by Lu Qing, took advantage of Lu Cheng's golden rooster stand to withdraw. He followed Yifang and rushed to the two girls. He shook his left arm and hit Lin Hua, who was trying to save Yenjika. He Santai, on the other hand, tapped the ground with his toes, turned around, and ran like the wind toward Li Mao and Kai Zhongming. Lin Ke changed his direction midway to help him. Lu Qing put down his right leg, stamped on the ground, and rushed toward his girlfriend. This was another rotation of the Heaven and Earth Mortal World Sword Formation, which temporarily divided the 6 people of Songqing University into 2 groups. Yenjika knew the situation was not good when her defense failed. She imitated her boyfriend's reaction and leaned forward quickly. Taking advantage of the situation, she tightened her left leg and swept it backward. Then, she tightened her left leg and swept it backward. Paw! The back of her foot kicked Yifang's arm in time to block that dangerous blow. But her strength was not comparable to her opponent, who had been in the dance stage for a long time, so her kick failed to move the enemy. If she wanted to borrow the force to stand up, she would only fall into the following chain of killer moves. Thinking of this, Yenjike didn't withdraw her leg. Instead, she tightened her fascia and stopped the rebound. She shook her ankle lightly and stepped on Yifang's arm. Using the force, she jumped back and approached her boyfriend who was about to arrive. Yifang didn't spare Lu Qing after gaining the upper hand. He seemed to have completely ignored Lu Qing. He took a big step forward and approached the girl who hadn't had time to steady herself. Lin Hua was forced to take a step back by He Erlong's punch. He barely held on and was in imminent danger. At this moment, Lu Qing had already arrived. He stretched his body as if he had transformed into a giant. The muscles of his right arm tightened, and he threw a punch at Yifang. His other hand shook out a white cold light, which quickly swam toward He Erlong to save Yifang from danger. Yifang didn't dodge. He bulged his muscles and tendons, jumped half a step, and waved his arm in the opposite direction to block the attack. Bang! When the two of them collided, He Santai was forced to step back to reduce the force. However, He Santai, who had been pouncing on Li Mao and Kai Zongming, suddenly stopped midway. He stomped on the ground and turned around fiercely. Like a big bird, he pounced on Lu Cheng's back and launched another pincer attack, leaving Lin Kai, Kai Zongming, Li Mao, and the others behind. The rotation of the heaven and earth mortal world sword formation was at will. In this situation, Yenjike, who had steadied herself, turned her body sideways and hit He Santai with her elbow. She wanted to block the attack from behind for her boyfriend. However, Lu Qing and He Santai didn't have that kind of telepathy. When he was attacked by He Santai, he hesitated, and Yifang took a few steps back. Then, Yifang made a half-circle to escape from the lock-on and approached Li Mao and Kai Zongming. At the same time, He Erlong also gave up chasing Lin Hua. After dodging the ice burn, he cooperated with Yifang and rushed toward the two boys from another direction. Bang! He Santai blocked Yenjike's elbow attack and changed his direction to avoid Lin Kai's punch from behind. He drew an arc in the air and rushed toward Kai Zongming and Li Mao. In an instant, danger came. Kai Zongming, who never had stage fright, couldn't help but feel nervous. He quickly calmed down and visualized the scene of a snowy mountain collapsing. He threw a blast punch at Yifang, who was approaching at high speed. As for Li Mao, he used the brutal blizzard and used his leg as a whip. He straightened his leg and lashed out at He Erlong. Bang! Bang! Yifang and He Erlong chopped with their hands and legs, easily breaking the two men's attacks. With them in front, He Santai did not stop. He overtook them in the middle and punched Kai Zongming and Li Mao's faces with both fists as fast as lightning. In a panic, the two boys either shrank back or retreated. They lost their posture and were about to be defeated by the He brothers. Fortunately, Lin Kai and Lu Qing were close. The three brothers didn't take the risk. They split up and left in an arc in three directions. Bang! 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 In the following battle, the He brothers were like practicing plum blossom dummies. They kept moving between Lu Qing and the others. They didn't want to take the credit and didn't take risks. They kept running left and right and couldn't stop. The heaven and earth mortal world sword formation is really extraordinary. In the live broadcast room, Chen Sanqing applauded. The formation was not only about defending, but also about attacking in different directions and setting up the whole formation. Sanxing, can you tell us what's so good about it? Lu Chang asked with a smile, seeing that the situation was stable and they had enough time. Chen Sanxing answered with a smile, you can pay attention to this. From the beginning until now, although the He brothers outnumbered their opponents, they have been outnumbering them. Why? It's because they have been using their footwork, wandering, and rotation to create a local advantage. If you're interested, you can carefully study their wandering route and the changes in the distance between them. It's very interesting. If it goes on like this, the 4 weaker members of Songqing University will be defeated sooner or later. Not to mention other things, they can't beat the He brothers in physical strength. At that time, Mingdao will have a real advantage in numbers. It sounds extraordinary, but it seems that Lu Qing and the others haven't used their full strength yet. They haven't even used the Buddhist incantation of 9 words, Lu Chang said thoughtfully. Chen Sanxing analyzed, even if they used it, it might not be effective. The He brothers keep a good distance from each other. You can affect one of them, but not the other two. Moreover, they can help each other in time. Unless Lu Qing can use it continuously, but I don't think so. Otherwise, he can finish one of them quickly by using the Bing sound and the Xing sound. That makes sense. Lu Chang sighed. At this time, seeing that the battle was getting more and more intense, the He brothers were led to better positions by Yan Zhike and the others. Lu Qing winked at Lin Ke, raised his hands, and drew the ancient characters. He exhaled at He Fang and said, Bing. Ambushed from all sides, He Fang was suddenly stunned and fell into a daze. He Erlong and He Santai didn't even think about it and went to help. The alarm would be lifted in 2 seconds. At this moment, they heard another mysterious low shout in their ears. Okay. This shout was not made by Lu Qing, but by Lin Ke, who had been neglected all this time. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.